Holy moly, we are live! Okay, welcome guys, welcome back to Inbox Dan. The webcam is jumpy. There is something arriving today that will fix that problem. Welcome to the stream. Today we are the mission is to build the Snug's website, the competition winner from this week. Just a heads up, if this webcam stops, yeah, don't worry about it, we'll get there. So, today, the project is to build the Snug live, and it's very nerve-wracking, believe me. That's why I'm purple in every stream. Thank you for watching if you're with us. I'm just trying to get the comments up so I can see what y'all saying, boys. Okay. So yeah, Rachel, thank you very much for your donation to AMMF. Guys, if you're not aware of the charity AMMF, give them a Google. They are supporting a very rare type of cancer that, you know, as most of you know, watching this, took our friend Simon from us last year. So massive thanks for that. A couple of notes on the stream. Please critique me. I'm new to Elementor. I don't know what I'm doing with it, really. But I'm trying my best. So yeah, just comment away. Open to suggestions and whatnot. So yeah, get involved, get stuck in. A little disclaimer on the content. Whatever I put on the website today may change and may not be true. May not be completely accurate. Rachel will have to go through this after the stream and make sure everything that I've written is correct. So, that's all the stuff. A little bit of background about the project. Rachel owns a little coffee shop in Atherton, a brilliant coffee shop actually, known as the Snug. And basically, they do loads of stuff for the community. She also owns a sewing shop called Hey Ho Let's Sew. Can't speak today, put my teeth in. So yeah, she owns a shop called Hey Ho Let's Sew as well, and she spent the past couple of weeks since like lockdown making scrubs for the NHS. So massive round of applause to Rachel there, guys, and bussing. So that's today's mission. Let's get stuck in. And this week we're starting completely from scratch so you can see the whole process. So let's get onto the screen capture. So here we have a completely blank installation of WordPress. Nothing on it, nothing going on. And that's how it looks currently on the front end. So we need to fix that. I've got loads of lovely content from Rachel. Loads of brilliant pictures. If we just pop into the old thing here, we can see all these great pictures that we've got. We've got the nice new logo there from the legend that is Mr. Peter Hall. And then we've got loads of nice pictures of bands on there. Nice shots of coffee of the venue. That super cool cup that they had made. All sorts of stuff going on. So we've got plenty of content. We also have a document from Rachel outlining loads of interesting things. I'll just grab this off screen so that we don't reveal the whole project situation. So this week I've taken the liberty of preparing all the images before the stream because, as we know, Photoshop last week did cause us some problems. So yeah, it should be a little bit smoother this time. Okay, so here's Rachel's web content doc that we've been provided, full of lovely, tasty things. And yeah, so basically we've got to turn this into a fully functioning website. Now we do have a set of wireframes this week also, which is something that we didn't have last time. Last week we started with a pre-built website that was halfway there from a previous project. This week we're starting completely from scratch. So we've got to turn that into a full-fledged business website. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. So first things first, as we know in these builds, we're using Elementor as our page builder. So let's just go ahead to the plugin directory and grab an installation of Elementor. I'll just install that. And then that's taking forever, as you should expect, whilst we're live. I'll also I'll show you these. I'll show you the wireframes whilst we're waiting for that. If I can find them. Uh-oh, this doesn't look good. Gateway timed out, that's not good, is it? Uh-oh. Is it installed? We seem to have encountered an error. It is installed, okay. We'll see how buggy this is after it's been done. Okay, so that's Elementor in and that's installed. Let's just head back to the plugins installer. And then what we need to also do now is drop in Elementor Pro, the Pro version of Elementor, so we've got a bit more freedom. Activate that one. This is how it should look when it activates. And then I'm just going to hook that up to my Elementor account so that we get full access to it. Job done. That should redirect us back to the site now. And now we're ready to build. So before we crack on, we just need to drop into the theme section of WordPress. And we're going to grab Hello Elementor, which is actually the Elementor recommended clean starting theme, which works really well for building sites of this nature. So we're just going to drop in and install that. Quickly, quickly, come on boy. There we go. That's in. And then we're going to activate that. Now, because I know that we're having events on this website and we're going to need to put some custom queries into WordPress, I'm just going to drop in and grab child theme configurator. And long story short, we basically need to do some tweaks to that original theme. So we're going to set up a new theme for the Snug, base it on the Elementor hello thing, and then from there we can drop in probably after the stream because it's a little bit codey. We'll be able to add our custom functions to that, which will sort out the showing of the dates. So basically what that means is when Rachel adds events to the site, it'll only show future events. Past events will show up in a past events tab, and then they'll display in date order, which is something that we're going to have to build. However, I'll probably do that off the stream because it's a little bit in depth and not particularly fun. I hope you like enjoying these streams, by the way. Right, okay, so we've got the child theme there. I'm going to head over to the theme section and activate the Elementor child theme that we just created. So that means we've got full customizability now for the theme. We can add our own functions and do various bits of things. Welcome, Greg. Thanks for watching, brother. Hope you're doing well, son. Okay, so we've got Elementor child installed. We've got everything set up. Everything's connected. And we're just going to add a couple more plugins because I know that we need to add an events thing. So we want to add advanced. Do this every week. You need to click add new first. We want to add advanced custom fields, or ACF as it's known as, so that we can add a date field and various other things to Rachel's events. And then we're also going to grab custom post types, UI, which allows us to add a... Oops. Again, I've done it again. We want to add a UI for custom post types so we don't have to build it in code because we frankly don't have time within the time frame we've got for these projects. And it's a good UI. There's nothing wrong with it. Does the job. So that's advanced custom post types in. So, the site will now look very plain. Completely blank. Nothing really going on. So, let's flesh it out with some data. So, first things first. Let's get stuck in and make something visual for you guys, because I know that all this back-end stuff is relatively boring for the most part. Okay, so the sitemap, we've got the homepage, we've got food and drink, we've got the events, and we've got the contact. So I'm just going to go ahead and add those pages and create a menu for those. I'm going to do something a little bit different with this because if I can find the wireframes, I'll be able to show you what the... I'm just going to grab Messenger in a different window. I'll be able to show you what the idea is of the site and what we're actually building. For some reason my Sketch is being a bit funny, so I can't show you the wireframes directly in Sketch, but thankfully I shared a link with Rachel yesterday afternoon. If I can find it. Wonderful. Here we go. Right, so this is what we're building. So we can see the desktop view. We've got the header. I've got the navigation centered, left and right. Hello, Nicola. Welcome. Nicola from Launch Events there. Great company. They're going to have like a welcome bit of intro there. We're going to stick a video on. We've got a little thing about a call to action to get people to visit the contact page. It's just going to have loads of information about how to find the place. Bit about the food and drink with a link to the food and drink page with a picture. Same for upcoming events. We may or may not get that in on the stream because, like I say, I'm going to have to build a custom query for that. Bit about the atmosphere, bit about the baristas, a bit about the tasty courtyard that they've got, and then they have a meet-up every week called Stitch and Bitch, which is where you can go and do some stitching and some bitching. Then we've got the event single pages. We've got a big, tasty picture of the event with a link to buy tickets, the price and the date, with a bit of an intro blurb and the title, a full background about the thing, about the event, some links to the website for the artist that may be on there. Now I know why I struggle with website design. So much info and brilliantly explained by you. Oh, thanks, Rachel. Oh, I've forgotten. Rachel, I needed to explain something. I'll do this on webcam. Okay, so domains and hosting are two things that most people who look into getting their own website sorted out kind of go, what? So basically, if you think of the domain as the name and then the hosting as a computer somewhere on the internet where the website's files are sitting. So the domain name is effectively saving you from remembering a big load of stupid numbers that no one would ever remember, and you can just remember something like the snugatherton.com, which in the background goes and looks up the web address of the computer that the whole website sat on. So Rachel, you were asking me before, how do we connect it up? You've got the domain name. All we need to do is tell that domain name to look at the Inbox Dan server. So hope that breaks it down slightly. If you think of the domain name system, the DNS, the registry that you're paying for every year, that's to pay a company to maintain that record, to point it to the computer. And say you changed host, all you need to do is change the domain and point it to a different place, which is why you should always retain your own domain names. Never get someone else to register them for you. Make sure you've got control, because if something happens to the company that's providing you with that domain, you're better off getting... If you've got your own domain on your own control panel, you can move your hosting and your email and everything. So, top tip. So back into the screen cap. Who else we got on the stream here? Wayne Myers. Hello, bro. He's an awesome photographer if you're looking for one. You can't stay and watch, but jump on later. Thanks, mate. Hashtag live if you're in the live stream, and then hashtag replay if you're in the replay. Right. So back onto the site. So this is the events page we're building. Next up, this is the food and drink page. They do serve alcohol and they've got a couple of beers on, so we're going to drop them in there, talk about cocktails. They do afternoon tea with a couple of calls to action at the bottom to visit or look at their events. They do food, they do takeaways. We're going to drop a PDF menu in there potentially. I don't have that yet, so Rachel, if we've got it, brilliant. If not, we'll take it out. And then a bit of a welcome about that. And then finally, the contact page. Massive thing about the location, where it is, how to get there, because it is kind of tucked away on Atherton's High Street. Most people in town know about it, but it's people out of town that we're worried about. Nice big picture, information about bookings, parties, social media links, Instagram feed, which will be tasty, and then again a call to action to the events. I like to have a call to action at the bottom of every page, because if you've scrolled through and you've got to the end, you need to have something that says, hey up, come and have a look at the next bit. Otherwise, you're kind of left to, floating around. So, without further ado, let's get these pages on. So before we crack on, I'm just going to build the quick edit these pages so we've got them to work on later. So we've got the home page there, and then we had food and drink as another page. So I'll just publish that. Again, we are working live on this. And next up, we've got events, but we're going to use that as a custom post type, so I'll leave that out for now. What else have we got? We have contact. So there we should see now home, food and drink. then we'll have events and contact. So what we're going to do, because we know we're having a centered menu on this site, we need to do 2 menus, and then we need to do a workaround for the fact that this is that Elementor doesn't support something, but I will talk about that later. So the first left-hand side menu, we're going to go ahead with home and food and drink, and then on the right-hand side, we're going to go with the contact, and then in a second, we'll have the custom post type set up to do events. So we'll just drop that in the menu, pending having set that post type up. Okay, ready to go. We do need to make a third menu so that we can hide the left and right ones on mobile, and then it's better to just see that in person. Nicola, yes, thank you. We'll put a call to action at the top to drag people down. More information, events, anything like that. Good shout. Great shout. Because if you land on the site, you need to see something. We've got a bit of a CTA at the top here, but we'll put one on this intro so that we've got a link we can click on there to drag us down lower into the page so people on mobile can see that there is something more going on. But yeah, good shout, Nicola. Thanks for that. So, where are we up to? We need to now start building the actual site, because the front end of the view, because this is quite frankly terrible. So let's get cracking. My favourite part of any website, the navigation, and we're going to go ahead, create a header. There we go, wonderful. Now I did take the liberty of saving us some time on this. I've grabbed a text file with all the colour codes from Pete's lovely logos and images. So we'll keep that just to one side so we can grab those in a second. And I've already trimmed out the logo and images that we've provided initially. Then Rachel, last night, dropped a bomb on me and sent me loads of awesome pictures that I believe Liv has taken, but correct me if I'm wrong. So we're going to be using... So look at that, Brecky! Bloody murder that today. Can't wait for it to go back out again. Anyway, right, so we're not going to use any of these templates. We're going to jump straight in and build our own. So, select our structure. We want a 3-column layout. And we want the left and right column. Basically, we want this one smaller than the rest of them. So the left column will go with... Here we go. So maths on the fly now. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm crap at maths. So that's 40% for each of the side ones. And then we'll... Yep, it's already done that for me. So we don't need to work it out. And then 30% for the middle. We'll take a look at how this looks in a minute. So, we'll stick with a full width layout for this. Because it gives us... I think it just looks nicer when it hugs the viewport. I did have this idea of making it look like it was a card floating in the middle of the site, but then I changed my mind. we can always change how it looks later on for H. So if you're not liking anything that's happening here, do not panic. This is a version 1, which is always better than version none. So we're going to put a bit of padding on that, and then we're going to just go in and add these color codes so that we've got them in the project to use. So Elementor's colour picker comes with loads of default colours that we don't want. I'll leave the greys, whites and blacks in because they're always useful to have in the palette. So there's a yellow. Very bright yellow. We've got a red. Add that. I like that red. It's very, very nice berry red. Looks almost edible. Who else we got here? Nicola, cheers. Thanks. That's a veggie brekkie. It doesn't look like a veggie brekkie. The blue's in. Let's grab the brown, which we may use sparingly because brown always looks a bit odd. The black isn't actually black. It's a very dark purpley colour. So that's useful to know. We may actually remove this black so that we don't accidentally use that. But anyway, these are the brand colours that we've got to use. And I think we're going to go with the blue because that is the one that's been used on the logo that's been provided. So, this is the header that we're building. Rachel, if you're not following along, sorry, if you don't know what's happening. Basically, we're making the header and footer. We're having a 3-column layout with the logo in the middle. And then we've got a menu to the left and a menu to the right. And this header will show on every every page of the site. So I'm just going to drop in the site logo block here, which hasn't been uploaded yet, so it'll look really weird. We're going to go with nav menus left and right. And then we need to go onto this menu, and we'll choose which menu it is, which has already been done. And then on this one, we're going to go with menu right, and we're going to align that one to the right. So you can see we've got home, food and drink, the events page, and then our contact page. The styling on, in fact, I'm going to undo that because I've realised I've not styled any of them. We can save ourselves some time here. So the left-hand menu, we want to sort the text out. We want it to be white so you can see it against the background. We will find a better font in a minute once we've got some content on there, because this doesn't really line up with the brand, because the brand's this sort of cute, cuddly, sort of homely coffee cup thing, and yeah, this text doesn't match it. So the hover, I think we will go with, I think we'll stick with this, but we'll use one of the other brand colours for the hover. The pointer, let's try the yellow. That's nice and bright. Maybe the red. I like the red. That's a good red, that. And then we'll make the width of it 10 pixels, so it's nice and chunky. Might be a bit too much. Try 5. Lovely jubbly. Okay. Now, what we need to do is make sure this shows up on every page of the website. So I'm just going to choose entire site and save and close that. And then I'm going to duplicate that menu with all that styling we've just done, drag it over to the right hand side, and then switch it to the menu right option. Is it a scrolling site, or will each page have its own URL? It's a full website, Nicola. Every page will have its own URL. So yeah, it's not just one big page. It's going to be all these different pages here. So we've started with, there's a home page there, the single events page. We'll have an events index as well. We've got the welcome at the what is this? This is a food and drinks page, and then we've got the contact. So it's not just a single page website. Nice one. Just to clear. Okay, so if we go into the WordPress dashboard, we're just going to nip back into there and upload the logo. So if we go to the WordPress customizer, which is where this lives on WordPress, you can change things that are site-wide here. So we're going to just grab Pete's lovely logo from this folder. We will use I think the big one. We'll try that for now. I'm just going to go ahead and drag a couple of other things in here so that we've got them online. I think I'll use this little red one in the... we'll use a little red one in the footer somewhere. So we'll just grab that. I've already edited this so that it's got a transparent background. Crop it left and right so we're not wasting any space. And jobs are good. And now we'll notice that is massive, so we need to do something with that, which we'll crack on with in a second. Whilst we're here, I'm going to use the cute little one for the site's icon, which if you stored it on your phone as like a little shortcut, or the favicon or the fave icon or whatever you call it in your accent, will also display this. So that's the little thing that we can currently see isn't anything at the top left of the window. Once we drop this in and save, we'll have a nice little icon there. It's very small and you can hardly see it, so we might change that later on. But if you were to add this to your iPhone or something, or on Google search results, it'll show up like this. Awesome. Okay, so let's get back to updating this header. And how long are we in? We're 26 minutes in. Moving fast. So the header, let's edit that with Elementor. And what I want to do with this is shrink the logo because it is very large at the minute. So we'll just go into the style. And I think somewhere around that size looks good for desktop. And then what I'm going to do is use these margins to pull in the bottom. Whoops, that was the right. So that it overlaps the page slightly. Like that. Lovely. We will play with this a little bit in a later, just to make sure that it doesn't look too much. And I think I'll also move it up slightly. Using the top margin. There are other ways of doing this. Many ways of moving margins, but I like to do it with margins in Elementor. That looks good. Awesome. Let's go. So, okay. We want these highlights to be at the bottom of the browser window there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off that padding that we added by my default thing of adding padding to everything. And make sure that this column is aligned vertically to the bottom. Same for this one. And then we're just going to create a bit more padding on that to connect it up to the bottom of the navigation. So if we put on 20 pixels top and bottom. Still not working on that. Oh, we need to add it to the individual element, I believe. Like I say, I'm not used to Elementor. Still pulling the margin from somewhere. So what I'll do, I'll chew on this in with a 10 pixel bottom margin. There we go, we'll try 12. Too much. So 10 was about right. Maybe 11. Hard to tell because there's a blue highlight. Okay, so that's sticking to the bottom there. We'll do the same this side. Drag that down by -10. Great stuff. Okay. So, like I said, the font doesn't really match the brand. So, I believe we should go and find us. This is one thing that I hate about the Elementor, by the way. There's no way to do a proper menu for mobile that's split, so we need to add a third menu, which is something I don't particularly agree with because it's not perfect for SEO, but with no other option. So we'll do that shortly. First things first, let's go and find us a nice font. So we're going to use Google Fonts for this because they are free. And what I like to do is go on Google Font Pairings, because we want a nice sort of... I think we should go with something quite handwritten for the headers because that kind of matches the brand, and then the main body will go with something that kind of sits nicely with them. So we'll go on fontpair.co, the good old friendly site that we've used a lot. And we're going to go with, let's try some of these things. So this one looks an awful lot like another font called Lemon Yellow Sun, I think it's called, and it's too much. It's used everywhere. We want something a little bit thicker. Lobster, again, been overused in my eyes. I quite like this one. We'll bear that in mind. Rachel, if you're still watching, let me know which one you like. We can change this later, it's not an issue. I think we might use this one for now. So we've got Rancho for the header, and then Gudea for the body. That's quite a nice combo. So ahead of Rachel coming back with a bit of feedback, we'll just run with that for now. It's not as handwritten as I'd like, but we can work on that later. We just need something that looks better than what we've got. Mr. Steve Sean, thank you very much, sir. I wouldn't really class this as web dev, I'm using a page builder, but yeah, thank you very much. Nice comment there from you. Rachel, Rancho wins, wonderful. So you saw me just do this little thing here. You've got to uncheck these boxes, otherwise it uses Elementor's default stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and refresh this page so I can choose our own fonts. Mr. Stephen Sean there is probably one of the best SEOs that I've ever met in my life. He's like Rain Man, as our friend Alex Hartley would say. He's the SEO Rain Man. If you want to be at the top of Google, you need to speak to that guy. Okay, we're going to go into default fonts. Primary headline is going to be Rancho. Lovely. Weight. We can see in the header it's quite thick, but it's quite small in the header. We may use the other font for that, but we'll play with that in a minute. Secondary headline, Rancho. Body text. It was Gudea, was it? If I'm saying that wrong, who cares? And then we're going to go with accent text of good ear too. Lovely. Let's apply that site-wide. Jobs are Gideon. I quite like that it's in the header. We just need to play with the sizing of it, I think. Menus, I feel, should probably use a more readable font, but we'll have a look. We'll see how it looks. So styling, typography on the header. Let's bump the size up. We don't want it to be too big. That's 22 pixels. Rachel, I went to school with Steve Sean, so I can't use my excuse of having no computers when I was at school. Morning, Mr. Brett. Thanks for joining us. Rachel, Steve Sean, you went to school together apparently. Just a heads up. YouTube guys, if anybody's watching YouTube, I currently don't have any audience over there, so if you wanna assist in that. If anyone from 4N or the Now What Club is watching, please share this back in the group. Let's try and get some 4N vibes. Get Brad involved. I can't comment while I'm doing this because it's a waste of time. Okay, so that header's looking pretty good. Let's just go and fix this problem that we've got with mobile, because the problem with mobile that I'm talking about, that you've got to kind of hack your way around with Elementor, is, as we know on mobile, you get the little burger nav. Now, because we've got two menus, we're getting two burger navs, which is not very good. And in Elementor, currently, there is no way of fixing that without making a third menu, as far as I can tell. Comment anywhere and let me know if there is a better way of doing that. I am new to this platform. I would normally build this properly by hand, but never mind. So we'll call this one mobile menu, so we know that it's got to have all of the links in. So this again is a workaround. It's not massively SEO friendly, Google friendly. It's not completely the way that I would like to do it, but we're a little bit strapped because the functionality simply doesn't exist. PD, you like a separate mobile nav? Yeah. See, it splits opinion. Because if you look at this on a screen reader, which is basically, anybody who doesn't know what a screen reader is, it's a piece of software that assists visually or audibly impaired people. It will usually read out the full menu. So if we look at a website in a screen reader, it actually looks... I'll just do a bit of a demo to show you what one looks like. If we go to... There's a code browser called WEM. If we go to google.com, this is pretty much how a screen reader is going to see this. I'm going to try and make the font bigger so you can see it better. So we can see Google has got search, images, maps, and if something was to read this out to someone, they'd understand that completely. However, if we go to our website, if I can remember to quit WEM. Exit now, yes. If we go to our website, we can see we've got multiple things going on here. So we've got home, food and drink, a gap, a logo that's not telling us much because I've not changed the SEO title, and then various other things, and then it goes on to the rest of the site. So if a screen reader was to read this out to, say, for example, a visually impaired person, it'd say home, food and drink, menu, crop, snug logo, big, events, contact, menu, and it just doesn't make any sense. A lot of them are a lot more clever than that. They'll jump to the main body of content, which will in a minute will say, welcome to the Snug, blah, blah, blah. However, we shouldn't be building like this, but Elementor doesn't have an option for combining those two menus. So, yeah. You should... I've just gone full nerd on you there, I'm sorry. So anyway, yeah, that's why I don't like using two separate menus. But yeah. Yeah, good shout that, Paul. Paul Dredge, a legend, has just also mentioned that we should probably tag those items as not for screen reader. There are things you can do to get around that, but yeah. We're gonna just hack our way around it today. If Rachel ever wants to go full accessibility standard compliant and all that, we'll look into it. But for the scope of this project, it's probably a little bit out of our realms of time. Okay, so let's go on to tablet. That looks okay. And then mobile, it's going to look ridiculous. So what we want to do, we want to hide this menu, these two side menus that we've got, completely on mobile. So responsive. Hide them on mobile. Yes, this is a workaround. I'm completely aware of that. Again, responsive, hide on mobile. Okay, so those menus won't show at all now in a mobile browser. So how are people on phones going to find their way around this site? They're not currently. Let's just sort the column width out on that header because it's huge on mobile. We don't want it 100% wide, we want it probably 40. And then we're going to use this right-hand column that on mobile we are going to shrink to the opposite of 40 minus 100, which is rubbish maths from me, is 60. And then we're going to create a third menu. Yes, I don't like doing this, and like I've said, it's hacky, but we've no option. And then we're going to use mobile menu on that, which will give us the full menu. And then we're going to go ahead and hide this one on everything but mobile. Hide on desktop and tablet, and then just show mobile. Okay, so we can see that that's not very user-friendly. So what we're going to do is going to be a little bit hard to see this because those two menus that are being shown are going to cloud our judgment on this. So what I'm going to have to do is keep saving it and switch into a different tab so that I can see what it's looking like. So if I just go into the inspector and then switch on mobile view, so we can see currently this is how it looks. So I'm going to switch back to this window. I'm going to do some pokery. And I think what I'm actually going to do is make this menu and the whole header actually sticky, so that it sticks to the top of the viewport constantly. Somewhere. Where is sticky on Elementor? We do not know. It is around. Sticky! Top! Yes! Wonderful! So when we've got the full site, that menu will stay at the top. And what we want to do now is make this absolute position so that it's always on top of that menu, and we can do something fancy with the drop down then. So, positioning, fixed position. It's fixed position actually, it's not absolute. Any web devs who are watching this are going, bloody hell, Danny, shut up! We want to stick it to the right hand side, and we want to make the offset. I'm not going to do that with offset actually, I'm going to do it with alignment. We don't want it to be full width. We just want it to be aligned to the right, which I'm struggling to find. Is that it? Nope, that's the internal menu. Ah, there it is. And then we can't see that very well, so let's go into the styling of the toggle. Change the colour of it to white. Nice. Background colour we're going to get rid of. If we can. Oops, that's the white. We don't want to do that. Surely pressing clear should get rid of the background colour, but it doesn't seem to do that in Elementor. So let's just do that. Or what do you think? Should we have it yellow? Ooh. Or red? Red's a bit more clickable. Might look a bit much though. Rachel, you tell me if you're still watching. Thanks for watching, by the way. It wasn't a requirement. Just going to pad that slightly so that it looks a little bit further away from the edge there. And like I say, it looks weird because we can't see how it's actually going to render out. So I'm going to have to swap into this other window and preview it. Right, we can see it's way too high up. I'm going to open another tab completely because the WordPress header is breaking my view anyway. So if I inspect that, switch on the mobile view again. Right, it's not too bad. I think what we could do with is sort that out because it looks weird. And we can see that here. It doesn't reflect what we're actually seeing on the front end. So we did that with the margin before, and if I just switch back to the desktop view, we used the -40 bottom margin. So let's go back to mobile, edit that, and we'll change that to bottom -20, and we'll get rid of everyone. -20, and we'll go, we'll try and pull it up by 10. Come on, Daniel. And then we'll nip back to our other window and just check how that looks. It's not moved. Of course it's not. Top 20. It isn't playing with us. I tell you what we do need to do on mobile. We need to get rid of that padding altogether. That'll do us. That'll bring us a bit higher. What I'm trying to do, guys, is bring this this logo higher up by using these minus top and minus bottom things. You like the red, but I do struggle to read red text on blue. Don't know if it's just me, but the box is fine. Just no red words on blue. Don't worry, Rach. I would never do such a travesty, because you would not be able to see them, like you say, quite rightly. Oh, we're having a nightmare with this one, boys and girls. It's not loading. It's not refreshing. It's not doing anything. Right, we might have to come back to that just for the sanity of all the viewers thinking, screaming at the screens right now. So let's just set that back to minus... Ooh. I've just done something by accident that actually looks really nice. We've moved it slightly to the left. I wonder if that actually works, because this doesn't seem to be updating whatsoever on the front end anymore. You see, it's not doing anything to the actual site. For whatever reason that may be. The margins are showing that we've entered, but they're not doing anything, so we need to work out why that is. Right, we'll come back to the mobile nav. We may even fix that offline, because it's going to be boring if I'm just sat here playing with these margins and everything. So, desktop view is like this. We can see the mobile menu has disappeared. And then tablet, like that, still usable. I know it looks a bit odd, but it's just because of this stupid floating mobile menu in the background. And then mobile, we've got that. I will fix this view. Fear not, ladies and gents. What I am going to do, though, is just quickly take note of how high that is rendering on the front end, so that we can pad the rest of the pages to account for the fact that the header's there. Because otherwise, the rest of the page will disappear behind that menu, and we don't want that happening. So if we switch to the mobile view again on this, I assume once we've fixed it out that it will probably be about this high. So I'm just going to use the tried and tested method of taking a screenshot and looking at the readout. So it's probably, I'd say, 66 pixels padding at the top of everything would be a safe bet. So I'm just going to write that down in my tasty little bespoke branded notebook. I just had to show that off. Sorry, I love these guys. So just going to write down there, we've got 66 pixels padding that we need to put globally. We will fix the nav. Potentially at the end of the stream if we've got time, if not offline. Okay. Steve Sean, it's not easy to do stuff like this live. Fix later, that is the way to go. Yeah, cheers, brother. Thanks for the approval there, mate. I'm freaking out. Anyway, so it's 60 pixels live on mobile. Let's drop into the desktop view and just double check how many pixels padding we need to make here. 90, I believe that was. Let's just there's got to be a better way of doing this, by the way. I just always do this and always have done. 90 pixels high, so if you pad it, 90 pixels on everything else, we'll be able to get beyond that menu because it's not going to move. I'll demonstrate what that means in a second. Okay, top is done. That looks alright. Let's rock and roll. Now we need to get the footer done. Another key part of every website is a nice footer. So let's rock and roll with that. Elementor templates, add new. And we're going to choose the footer. We're going to put Snug footer. This one's not going to be sticky. We're just going to allow this to float wherever it wants. We're not going to use one of the pre-built ones because you always end up looking like somebody else's website when you do that. We're going to go full width again. And I think we shall go... There's going to be events, there's going to be the navigation, and then there's going to be probably some sort of mailing list or contact form. So I think we'll go with a 3-column footer, but with thinner sides, maybe. Yes, this one. So, the footer at the bottom of every page, another important core part of any website. Great for SEO. Great to pop links in and say, like, yeah, check out our events. Great for navigation. What do we want to do? We're going to build a menu in a bit, or a custom widget with the events that are going to be coming up. So what we'll do here, we'll just put sitemap, and then we'll also put in, what's this? This is going to be events. And then in the third column, we'll put visiting. And we'll put the address and a tasty little map in there, I think. We don't want it white. We want it to look something branded wise. So let's have a look at what colours we've got in our lovely palette from Mr. Pete Doyle. Yellow, too much, probably. Dark, way too much. Rachel, what colour do you want your footer? Let's try yellow for now. We can work on this later. Obviously, I'm not going to leave the type that colour. Fear not. So headings, we want them white. Text, we want that white too. I'm going to publish that. Add that to the entire site. Save and close. Job done. And then also, a little sub footer. Got to be done. Because everybody needs to know where this website's come from. Rachel, I hope I'm okay borrowing a credit. Padding. 5 pixels top, 5 pixels bottom. Style. What are we going to go with on this? We'll use that yellow. We'll darken it slightly. Through the medium of making it slightly orangey. And then, look how bright this site is. It's lovely. Right, so we're going to put copyright in there. And then we're going to insert the year, actually. So we're going to use dynamic tags on this. And we're going to drop down to site, current date time. And we're going to do a microscopic bit of coding by going custom. And using that. And then we're going to go on advanced. And before we're going to put copyright. And then afterwards we're going to put the Snug. Rachel, what is the limited company called? If you have one. Please credit yourself. This is good for all of us. Thank you, Rachel, and thanks for approving the yellow. We are live commenting here, ladies and gents. Wonderful. We need a copyright sign. And Apple has moved the keyboard button in the latest version, so I'm going to have to steal that from one of my other projects. So, let's have a shout out to the project we started last week. Oh, in fact, no, we can do it in code. Can we? If I put and copy... Oh yeah, the copyright sign looks really weird in this font actually. That's poopy. Right, we may have to address that. Copyright 2020, the Snug. Rachel, what's your company called? So we can put the actual legal entity which the copyright belongs to. So we're not going to go with complete white on that, we'll just use that little yellow that we've got. We'll keep it left aligned on desktop, we'll go left aligned on tablet, and we'll go centered on mobile. And then the right hand column, duplicate what we've just done to save us resetting all those settings. Apart from one thing that's going to change. We want it to be aligned to the right, and we want to go, what's the content? It's going to be built by, no, let's use Inbox Dan, an Inbox Dan project. Yes, look at that. And let's put a link in to https inboxdan.com. Wonderful. Do we have to have limited in public? It's not dodgy, I just don't like it. Nope, not a problem. We'll just put copyright the Snug. That's fine. I don't believe there's a legal requirement for that. I'm not qualified or insured to provide legal advice, though, so just bear that in mind. I have to say that. I don't have to say that, but I'm covering myself. You never know. So, we're going to just do a tiny bit of code. Because I don't know a better way of doing this in Elementor. And I'm going to make it so that that link in the footer, when we hover it, it goes that colour. And then I'm going to go... And we want the link to be a colour that we can see apart from the footer text. So let's go ahead and grab that. So we'll make the text the colour that we had it before, then I'm going to go into this advanced settings, custom CSS, and I'm going to make the colour that nice yellow that I've just grabbed. So we can see that there's a slight difference in that text there. You can tell that it is something going on with it. So we'll save that, and then also just to get rid of that odd, we can see that it's not perfectly in the middle of the box, which is going to do my OCD and something rotten. So we're going to go selector P, and we're going to go margin 0. I always put my ring instead of margin. Dyslexia potentially? God knows. Job is a good one. Look at that. Nice little footer there. Okay, sitemap. Nav menu. We'll use that full menu that we use for mobile. We'll have this vertical in the footer. We want the colour. My comments stream has just gone absolutely bananas, by the way. We'll set the colour to be a nice... we'll use that yellow and then we'll drag it lighter so we can see it. We need to sort that typography out because it is very small. And I think what we might do as well is drop that to the other font because it does not look different than the headers. So what was the other font that we used? It was Gouda, was it? Not Gouda, that's a cheese. Judea. That's nice. Make it a little bit smaller. There we go. Line height looks good. Right, the hover. I'm not sure if that's entirely readable. We may revisit this later. Rachel, tell me. What do you think? Do we use white on yellow? Do we use a darker colour? It's readable, but it's not... potentially not readable enough. Okay, so the drop-down menu... the main menu, sorry. We don't want this to ever break to the mobile menu. So we're going to go none. We want to keep it as a list all the time. Then we're going to go typography. I'll potentially make that a bit whiter actually. It's too hard to see. In fact, let's just go full white. fulltiltwhite.com. And then we'll use the hover pointer type of background instead. They call it a pointer, which is basically means when you hover. So the hover colour, we will use a slightly orangey yellow, but not one that looks muddy because that's not in line with what we've been doing everywhere else. Bright white looks good. Thanks, Rach. Thanks for the approve. Ooh, Livia's on. Hello, Liv. Thanks for the pictures. They're very nice. See, Sean, white works. Nice one, brother. Okay, approved. Okay, in a bit we will have a little widget here with the events on there. Not built that section yet. May or may not get it done on the stream. So, what else do we want in the footer? We want the address. And the address is, Rachel, I do not know your address. The Snug, Atherton. It's on Market Street. It's between 67A Market Street, okay. Thank the Lord for Google. Address is line break, paste that in. And then we'll put contact M46 ODA. Thanks, Liv. Job done. 67A Market Street. Yeah, we've got it, sus Rach. Thank you. Thanks for that. I googled it. Do we put on that you're under the arch next to Greg's? Or do we just put under the arch on Market Street? Or do we put anything like that? You tell me. It's your website. I'm just facilitating. I'm going to grab your phone number that you've provided me in your initial content documentos. If I can find him. So I'm just going to pop into Google Drive on the other window so you don't see everything that's going on in my life. The Snug. Can I just give a massive shout out to Jot Form, by the way? The paid version is absolutely tasty. You can make custom forms that anybody who's applied to Inbox Dan will know. But then you get this like nice PDF output, which is just bueno. Okay. So, Rachel's provided a phone number there, but we are not going to use that one because it's not the public one. We do have an 01942 number. Down the cobbles, under the arch. I like that. We'll put down the cobbles. Under the arch. And we'll put that in italics. Tasty. That's very tasty. Make it white. We'll sort the typography out shortly because it's a little small. Contacting. What was I doing? Contacting. In fact, I'm going to put contacting on as a separate thing. And I'm going to get rid of the address thing because we don't need to say the address because we've already said we're visiting. And I'm going to make it bold. Because why not? Thanks for the phone number, H. Wonderful. This is brilliant having the client live. I might start doing this for all projects. We'll put another heading. And we'll put contacting. And then we'll use one of our tasty little link lists. Icon lists, sorry. And then we'll get rid of a few things. And we'll put the phone number, which Rachel has kindly pasted into the chat. 01942 875 430. And then we're going to use a phone icon, because why wouldn't you? And then we're going to put a tel link in, so that mobile phones will see that and think, I can call that. Excellent. Let's duplicate that and do the same for the email address, which I believe is the snugatherton@gmail.com. Just double check that from the form that was provided. If I can find that form, where have I put the form? The snugatherton@gmail. Wonderful. We need to sort you out, Rachel, with a proper email address of hello@thesnug.com, or whatever your website name address is. We'll sort that after. So, email, thesnugatherton@gmail. We'll change this to an envelope. Because why wouldn't you have an envelope for an email? Lovely jubbly. And style-wise, we want to make the space between a little bit bigger. We want to make the icon a little bit bigger. We'll probably make a bit more space now we made them bigger. Icon. Let's go with white. Also, ladies and gents, we've just had an update from Rachel. Ask for Olivia when calling. Don't ask for Rach. Brill. Right. What we need to do, make all the text bigger, because that is hard to see. So, on Elementor, we can change the site-wide text when Chrome decides to respond. Chromie, come back. There we go. Theme style, I believe, is the place we do this. And then we go typography. I'm going to close some windows because this computer... Applecast Farm, shout to Applecast. Is struggling. I wanted to keep that open. We don't need to see that anymore. Chrome famously takes up an awful lot of memory when it's got things going on. Okay, typography. So the body text is what we are trying to sort out. Some funny stuff going on in the comments if anyone's watching. I think we'll go for 16 pixels. You should usually probably do font sizing in... I believe one of my old university lecturers actually said that font size should always be done in M's, but whatever. Whatever, man. Tony Adiman. He was a good guy. And I always like to do a 1.8 M line height. That's just personal prefs. But I like it. I think it makes the text look more readable, which is never a bad thing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. We need to sort the links out site-wide. Link colour. It probably could do with being a detectable colour that ain't too brash. In fact, let's make it brash. Let's have red. And then when you hover, let's have yellow. And we'll see how that looks. You won't see that yet because there's no links that haven't been overridden. We overrode these links in the footer with various other bits and bobs. Right, squadron. Header and footer done. What we saying? What do you reckon? Events will appear later. Okay, we're an hour in. We need to make a full post type with bits and stuff. Right, so let's do the hard bit next. Let's go on to the... Let's have a look at the site first. Where we're up to. Buzzing. Looks good. Very colourful. Matches the place, the people. What has happened to this? Something to do with our mobile menu, I presume. I'm going to edit the header. Fandabidozi for Olivia. Thanks, Liv. Nice one. But let's fix that because that's going to bug the hell out of Danny Boy. We've lost something. Something is lost that cannot be found. Saint Anthony, please come round. For something is lost that cannot be found. 10 points to anyone who can see that little thing I just did there. That's just because I know what I'm doing. Me, I can see things that people can't. I can see. I say that 6th sense. Yeah. Shout in the comments if you know where that who did the Saint Anthony poem. Very fresh and colourful. Thank you, Olivia. It'll look even better when we've got your pictures on there in a minute. Boom. Okay. Right. I'm saying they're your pictures. I don't know. Olivia, they're your pictures. That you've given me. That someone's given me. Right. Guys, let's get the events custom post type in. So I'm going to go to CPT UI. Oh, JB Barrington. Even better. Well, it's not even better. It doesn't. I don't know them. But anyway, the pictures are good. Very nice pictures. Okay. Post type slug, events. And then we're going to go plural label, events. And then we're going to go single label, events. This, Rachel, is the thing that will change the world. And then we're going to go and populate all of the things below with these buttons. Wonderful. Now, because they're an event, there's loads of settings on this and I absolutely hate it. Showing the menu, true. With front, there's loads of settings. Do we want categories? Who did the pictures? Mike Gary's the... Oh, okay. JB Barrington was a poet. I don't know him. Mike Gary is the poet that I was talking about. Nice one. Okay. So, we've got title, editor, and featured image. We need to add the custom icon, menu icon. And we're going to use a dash icon because they're part of WordPress. And we want to use a calendar. Where is it? Where's calendar? There he is. So this is just literally a bit of UI for Rachel, so that when this is basically this little thing here. So we've got a little comments thing, we've got a pages thing and whatnot. The calendar class is that one. I'm going to leave categories off. Or should I? I want to put categories in because events can have categories then. And then blogs could have categories. Wonderful. Right, so we can see we've got my events now. Nothing's in it. And events look very boring. Hello, Laura. Snug Squad, live and kicking. Chrome is being incredibly slow today. It's doing my boxing. Do we risk it and quit the browser and then relaunch it? Because my computer's behaving normally. I think we might. I think we have. Let's tell Chrome where to go. Bye, Chrome. Imagine if we lost everything. Okay, hopefully the stream's still working. We're going to relaunch Chrome. We're going to put it back onto the Inbox Dan desktop. Chrome is terrible today. And now the computer's frozen. Hopefully the stream's still working. Hello, people. Technical problems? Okay, there we go, guys. Sorry about that. Right. We've not lost anything, don't worry. The site is simply not there. So let's go to the Snug. Back onto the site. Log back in. We don't need to log back in, it's remembered us. Wonderful. Right. Where we're up to. So, for the squad just joining us, welcome. Thank you to whoever's providing the pictures. I think some of them... Oh, we're getting some intel. Olivia's done a few. Emma Golpis has done a couple of others, and David Hunter. Shout out to everybody. Emma, your brother, I believe, has got a brilliant web agency called Shape. They are fantastic. Great pics. We are halfway through, or at least halfway through time-wise, of the Snug's website build. So far, we've made the header and footer. We've added a custom post type for events. We're just about to go in and add some new fields to those posts so that we can do the title, the ticket link, and various other fancy bits of Flash stuff. So let's dive back in. Buzz in. Right. So events currently are very blank. There are two things that I need to do very quickly. I just need to add a plugin to force the events editor to look like I want it to. Long story short. So currently the website, for those who are just joining, looks like this. Not a lot going on, but the header and footer are very pizzazz. But now we're going to go in and make it actually do things. And we've got around about 50 minutes. It doesn't really matter if we overrun. So, what are we doing? What's happening? Think, Danny. We need to go into custom fields so that we can attach some fields to Rachel's events. Because if we go to events currently, they look like this. We don't have anything but the title and the content of the event, and then a category and a featured image. That's all we've got. However, that's not good enough because it's a modern world and we need to see on events all these extra fields that has been requested by the management at the Snug, which is important. So, what do we want? We want to see the type of event, which is the category, we've got that. The date, the price, the ticket link, an intro, the blurb, which we'll use as a content body so you can put whatever the hell you want in there, and then the featured image. So what we've got already in the events is the title, which is sorted. We've got the type of event, which we can use this categories function. And then we've got the intro text, which we don't have. We could use the WordPress excerpt, but I'm not going to. We've got the blurb about it, which is the main content, and then some links, and then more events there. So, without further ado, we need to add those fields to events, basically. And because of time constraints, we're dropping in with a plugin. I love that, Liv. I'm just having a coffee, but it's rubbish because it's not from the Snug. I've not got coffee today. I've got water because I actually had a bit of a... I wouldn't say panic, but I was a little bit nervous before going live today. Anything could happen. Anything could happen in a live stream. So anyway, shout out to the Mason's Arms, which is now closed, for the last pint glass I ever had. What's good for you anyway? Shout out to Jay Unwin, my personal trainer, that obviously doesn't look like I have a personal trainer yet, but whatever. Right, so event fields is what we're going to be working on now. Then we're going to go on and we're going to put field label of what we have in. We'll use intro first. And then we'll make it a text area. And then please provide a small introduction about the event. Look at that. Job done. Required. Yeah. Default value. Ain't got one. Brill. That's one field done. Next up, add field. What else do we need? We need a date and a price. They're the tasty fields. So the event date. I'll just put date. No, I'll put event date, just in case. And we'll put a date picker. And then we're going to go. What date is the event? We want date time, actually, because events do have times. Full disclosure, if you hear dogs barking, I'm sorry. We have dogs. And they bark. Sometimes. We'll display it like that, so that it looks nice and usable. Week starts on Monday. We don't want any conditional logic. Job done. So event date, job done. What do we want now? Ticket price. And I think for this one, shall we put a number and then do some conditional logic? If it's not entered, it shows up as free. Or do we just put a text area in there that we can have you guys fill out with a pound sign if it has one? I think we'll do the latter because it gives us more customizability. You could put whatever you wanted then. Yeah, so we'll go basic text. Did we set that first one to text area? Yes, we did. So ticket price is text. Please enter the full price of the ticket or type free. Required, yes. Default value, free. I'm going to put a little note in there. Don't forget the pound sign. And then, that's required, that's required, that's required. Brill. So what else do we need? We need a link to buy tickets. So, add field. Field type, URL. Ticket link. Please paste in a Dice or Eventbrite link to the ticket URL. I'll leave that as required because there's always going to be a ticket URL for events, whether they're free or not. Default value, we'll leave blank. Basically, in fact, I'm going to get the Snug's Eventbrite. Basically what this does is gives them the ability to put a link into any platform so people can go and buy the buy tickets. So this is the Snug's Eventbrite. I'm going to put that in as the default value so that if they don't put a link in, it always comes back with at least some gigs are free, so both options, please. Yeah, no worries, Rich. We've got that sorted. All you need to do is type in free, or if not, leave it blank. Yeah, so if they don't provide a link to the event ticket URL, it'll just take a link to the Eventbrite, which isn't a bad thing. Okay, is that everything? Is that all the fields we need? The blurb is provided already. We've got that, and I'll put a little links box in. So like additional information. And then we're going to go ahead and put a little text area in there. This will appear. to the right of the event. Full description. Required. No, we'll leave that. If they don't have it, they don't have it. Job done. Okay. Now, if the post type is equal to events, we want this to show up. And then publish. So before, when we had that event thing, you will notice that it had nothing in it, really. And now, when we go to events and we click on add new, we've now got some fancy fields. So we've got intro, event date, ticket price, link, and additional information. So, featured image, and also, yeah, so categories. I hate it that WordPress always comes with an initial thing of uncategorized. So we're going to change this to gigs. No, we'll go music. That's a bit more pro, isn't it? We can add more of these later. Rach, it's dead easy, I promise you. I'm sure Olivia and whatnot have used WordPress before. Okay, music is now one of the categories we've got. We've got a description. We can do whatever the hell we want in this box. We've got an introduction about the event. We've got a date, a ticket price, an event link, and then some more information. So, let's use a past event as an example. No, in fact, we'll make one up as an example. So, featured image-wise, we need to set a default size that we're always going to use for featured images. I think what I'll actually do is add another field for an in-betweener image. So custom fields, which will show up. The default image I'm going to put up here, and then the in-betweener image can be this big chunky beast here, because some things might have it, some might not. So let's go back into our event fields and edit this. Add another field. Giant image. And then we'll choose the image thing. We'll say it's not required. The return is what we're going to bring back. The image array, I think. There goes my WordPress knowledge. So yeah, this will show up below the title, between the description and the rest of the page. That kind of makes sense, hopefully. So if we say that huge image goes full width, let's just make it 1800 pixels wide, and then we'll use one of your images that you provided already as an example placeholder for this. And then we'll use, let's say, oh, you can't see this. Let's just use band wide. In fact, we can just use that other image, we don't need to edit it. What we shall do, though, is we'll set a default size for featured images so that they can be used in the index. So we'll say 800 pixels wide by, let's try 350. That looks like a kind of event-ish image. Let's try 400. And then we'll use this band. We don't know what they're called. I don't know what they're called. So I'm just going to call them the Snuglets, just for the sake of demonstrating what that featured image does. And we'll just use something like this. And I'm just going to save that to the desktop. It's the tinfoils, the band is, but I'm going to call them the Snuglets for now. Right, so basically when we're adding an event, we want to be able to add a big picture and then a little picture that shows up in the index. The big picture will just help us sort of sell the event. The little picture will entice people to find out more. So what we're going to do, we're going to create an example event that we can then use to build the rest of the page. So the tinfoils live, for example, in music, the featured image, we're going to use that image that we've just created, which I'm hoping I've saved to desktop, called the Snuglets, which isn't true. Then we're going to grab some music lorem as a placeholder text, because Danny doesn't have the ability to generate a huge paragraph of oh god. In fact, we're going to use Game of Thrones lorem. Hodor ipsum. Oh, it's gone. I just need some dummy text. Bear with me. Meet the ipsums.com. You know what? Let's just grab anything. Godfather ipsum. That'll do us. We'll have 3 paragraphs of Godfather ipsum. Leave the gum. Take the ipsum. A designer's tool. Okay, and then we're going to provide a little intro, which can just be the first paragraph of that. The event date, we'll set that to next Saturday, even though that would be wonderfully wishful thinking, and we'll say it starts at 7 PM. Ticket price is £20. Additional information, visit the Tinfoils website here. Hopefully they've got a website. Music Glue, hopefully this is them. Could be. It is being for the purpose of this. Right. Giant image is the thing that will show up between when we've built that page. I'll show you how we do that in a second. And we're going to grab the band wide one. Job done. Right, so that is an event, full event. Everything's going on there. Rach, what do you reckon? You having that? You taking it? It will look rubbish if we view it though, because we've not done anything with it. So, next task is to fix that problem. So the events page, we have all the content in the database now that we need. We need to build a template for Elementor so that it can display the events nicely. I'm just going to grab a quick plugin because I'm going to need this in a minute. And it's called Elementor Custom Skin from Dudaster, whatever. Nice one, Rich. Glad you like it. Let's make it look like something now. So if we go into Elementor, we need to go into templates and we need to add new, and then we're going to go on to single because it's a single one of the events, and then we're going to go on event single. Main, because we will end up building an event single that shows up only on the index page, but I'll explain that when we get to it. Right, so this is the meaty stuff now. So this is a blank page, as you can see. What we're going to do is build a nice block at the top that entices people into the event. I'm going to use a 2-column layout in line with our sketch here, and then we're going to go and build this out. I think I'm going to make this a full width section. And then we're going to use a lot of padding on this because we want it to stay well clear of that hanging down logo at the top. If I stick 60 pixels on the top, that should do us nicely. And I'm going to drop 20 on the left and right so it's not too close to the viewport. And we want that to show on the events. Save that. Job's a good one. Right, so style-wise, let's make this proper, vibrant. Bosh. Right, lovely. Now, we're going to go in and grab the post title. I think I'm going to use that single event that we've just had to preview this. Make it white. We'll sort out the font size shortly. And then we're going to go and grab post info. None of this is what we want. We want some custom stuff. And we're just going to go into the dynamic tags, grab an advanced custom fields field and choose the intro that we made a minute ago. We're not going to link it to anything. We're not going to show an icon. And it's going to be white. Thanks, Liv. It's very kind of you. So, header. We're just going to edit this section. And we're going to update the old spacing on it. Make the column gaps bigger. So we've got more space around everything. Lovely. So that's like a nice little welcome. The featured image we're going to plop in here. And then we're going to grab... what else did we have? Some post info. We'll lose the first two because we're not going to use them. And we're going to use the custom post type things that we just came up with. ACF field. We're going to grab the event date. Not going to link it. Icon. We will use calendar. Look how easy this is these days, guys, with a page builder. It is bananas. We'll use the filled calendar so it shows up more against that background. And then what we're going to do, we're going to grab the other custom field that we had, which was the price. Not going to link it to anything. Ticket price. Jobs are good in. Icon, custom. And then we'll use a pound sign if there is one. Lovely. Insert that. Update. Jobs are good in. Right, we'll display that as a list. We want to sort the styling out because it is currently very boring. And you can't see it. So the icon, let's make it white. Yellow. White. Make it bigger. 20 pixels will do us. Text. We want that to be white. Want to indent that slightly because it's a little close. 18 maybe. Nice. Jobs are good in. Update that now. This is looking tasty. Next thing, we need to click a button under here, which is going to look really boring because we've not styled the buttons yet. And the link is going to go to dynamic tags, ACF field. We're going to go ticket link, Bo Shakalaka, icon, ticket, and then it's going to be get tickets. Yes, Bosh. And we want to make that full width. Somehow. What do we do? Where is it? In Elementor, we don't know. Button type. Can we do this? Ah, a bit more spacing on the icon. So advanced. Okay, I can't work out how to do it in Elementor, so I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. In code, how we all know how to do it properly. There we go. Right. Now, we need to make the buttons site-wide look a little bit tastier. So let's go on theme style. Wow, that is way too much. We definitely need some white to break all this up. So theme style, let's go on buttons. Let's just fix these buttons first. Nick Piers, welcome. Thanks for joining us briefly. Nice to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well, sir. Padding. Right, let's get some decent padding on these buttons. Typography. We want them to be a bit chunky than that. Not that chunky. Probably 20 pixels. Let's try that. Lovely. The weight. Looking good. I think we'll leave it in that font because the other font will probably look a bit too much. What was it called? I've forgotten. Anybody? Anybody remember what the font was called? I'll inspect. Let's have a look. Rancho dressing. Might look too much. I don't know, Rachel. What do you reckon? Rancho buttons or normal buttons? I like the green though. Perhaps. Cheers, Nick. Thanks for mentioning Comic Sans. I've nearly been sick in my mouth. I think we'll tweak the button colour slightly to make it fit somehow more with the... Oh, that's a nice one. That's a nice colour, maybe. I don't know. Just going to play around with this green a little. It's alright. I kind of like that. It's very brash against that background now. So what we might do is put a box shadow on it. A very subtle one. That's not subtle. We'll drop the fade of it to maybe 20%. And then we'll offset it vertically, not horizontally, Daniel. To probably, let's say, 5 pixels. We'll blur it more. There we go. That looks alright. Hover, text colour, white, background colour. When we hover, let's go a lighter green. That'll do us. And I think on border radius, we want these buttons to be a little bit more friendly, a bit more rounded. Do we go full round? Do we go like this? Or do we go square? I think we'll go 20 pixels. We can change this. I'm just going to add a little more padding on the left and right to account for that roundedness. Cool. Those buttons ain't looking too shabby. We can come back to this. This is a masterclass in good design. Steve Sean, the compliments from you today, my friend, are fantastic. Thank you very much. What we might do here is just put a little box shadow on this image. Or would that be too much? Probably too much. Do we match the border radius of this image to everything else? 20 pixel border radius. Ooh, that looks actually nice. Makes it look a little bit more rounded, a bit more friendly, so it's not as like, because the Snug's snuggly, so we don't want it to be too brash. Brill. I think what we will do is make this column a little bit thinner, because I don't like how much space we've got here. Or do we? Do we want more? I think we'll leave it at 30% actually. Right, let's have a look on mobile. Tablet. Looks even better. Potentially just increase the size of that on tablet. What a guy Steve Sean is, man. What a guy. If you've never met him, you need to meet him. Looking good on mobile. I think on mobile we will reverse the layout because we would like it to have the what's it majigger. We want the thing to be higher up. I'm trying to say, what am I trying to say? Yeah, we want the buy link to be higher up, I think, on mobile. So let's just see how that works. Oh, it's changed it. In fact, it was an accident, but a happy one. It looks better like that anyway. I think on tablet, that buy button will be under your thumb if you're right-handed. More people maybe are right-handed. I'm going well too deep into this. Right, let's just reverse it on mobile. There is a setting for this somewhere in structure. It's in here. There we go. Reverse columns mobile. Wonderful. So on tablet, that's the one. Desktop, bosh. Jobs are good and looking good. Now, let's get a full width section again. And we want to set in a background image. Just one. We want to use a dynamic tag from the ACF image field. The giant image is the one we're going to be using. I'm doing it as an image for a reason. So so that we can make it... doing it as a background, sorry, so that we can make it a little bit more flash. Size default. Attachment, we want it to be default. Repeat. Don't repeat. Size. Cover. Rach, it's fine. I'm glad you've been with us so far. Thanks for being here. See you soon, maybe. I think we might do something cool with the scroll effects on this. I'm not really sure what that's doing. And we're going to put some padding on it so that we can see the image. In future, Rachel, when you're adding images to this, art direction wise, just make sure that you've got the main focus in the center and that they are wider than they are tall, so that they get shown in this section. So let's have a top and bottom 200 pixel. Looking good. We need to have something in there even if it's blank, which isn't exactly great for SEO or for any reason. But I think Elementor will hide that section if we don't do that. I was hoping that scroll effect might do something, but it didn't. So let's just double check that. Scrolling effects, vertical scroll. Oh, it does do something. Does it? Yes, it does. Can you see how it ever so slightly just scans through the image? Like it. Like it. So you will get to see the whole image, but, you know. Ooh, it just adds a bit of intrigue. Rach, by the way, if you're watching this back or whatever, there is absolutely no requirement for you to, to stick around for the full stream. It's 2 hours, mate. Right. That's cool. What we want to do next, another section with a side column again. Let's make sure it's the same width as the top one, because we're not Neanderthals. So we want it to be 30% at least on the right hand side exactly. Boff. Job's a good one. And then we want to put padding on this because nobody likes it when content wraps completely to the viewport. To the previous and next elements. Always looks a bit tatty if you don't do it proper. And then we'll go in and we'll grab our post content. And we'll put a title on this, I think, because just for good practice. One thing I have just remembered, this isn't a H1. We need this to be a level 1 heading. Oh, it is a H1. Never mind, Daniel. You are talking out of your botics. Right. What do we want the heading to say? We want it to be dynamic, and we want it to be the post title. But we want to put more about... Oh, yes. Lovely jubbly. And then in the sidebar, we want to put another heading of additional info. And we want to drop in a text editor. And within this text editor, we want to contain some dynamic content from the ACF field of additional information. Wowzers. It's almost as if it was meant to be. And then we're going to just... it is trailing out there. We should probably have made that an editor so that we'll go and fix that shortly. Right. Layout. Column gap wider. Give everything a bit more breathing space. And now, let's make this additional information thing a little bit more interesting. So we're going to grab Pete's nice pink. And we're going to just make it very subtle background on there. Like almost indistinguishable. And then we're going to take this in additional info header. I'm going to use Pete's dark again. I'm going to just make that somewhere around here. Oof. Suits you, sir. Look at that. And you know what? Let's go one step further. Bring it in line with the rest. And grab us. If we can. Without having to do it in custom CSS. We know how to border radius on it. Border. Stick that good old 20 pixel radius. Subtle as a train crash. Hey Bert! Hey Tyrone! My best friend, my best mate of all time, Mr. Tyrone Joyce, is with us. Ladies and gentlemen. Additional info, right, just below the additional info. I'm going to just put another button in. Another CTA, why not? Because if people haven't yet purchased a ticket, why wouldn't they have? So let's go content. Let's go click here. Oh, no, we'll go get tickets. Tickets. Link. ACF URL. And then we're going to go on key, ticket, link. Jobs are good in. Icon. Use the ticket. Insert that. That colour doesn't look right, so we'll fix that. We'll go custom CSS. Let's go selector. We'll go Elementor button. And then we're going to go width 100%. And then we're also just going to go style. Change the background colour. Does that look better? Yep, but perhaps we'll not have red because... Oh yeah, man. Jamming with that. Let's just stick with that, see how it looks. Gonna add that to the palette so that we can use it again. Background colour, this. On hover, slightly lighter. Bish bash bosh. Looks good. Right, so that's a single event page done. Looking good. Let's have a look at our sketch to make sure it looks like it did. We've missed the CTA. Fix that, Mr. Hackers. So we want to do something with this, but we'll remember that when we put something that was so deeply coloured next to this before, it looked absolutely not sickening, but it was very overpowering. Do we try and do something like that? Or is it getting too colour rich now? Are we getting too colourful? I think we might be. Let's just put a plain call to action in there then and see what it looks like. We can come back and fix that. Oh, course navigation. Just in case people ain't ready to grab this event. Let's put other events in. We'll duplicate this header. Plop that there. More events. And then we're going to go another heading down here. Happening soon. And then we're going to put in a little bit of a text to find out other events coming soon at the Snug. Why not visit our events page? Do we put something in here about Bitch and Stitch? I think we might. I think we have. Get crafty. Join us every week on... If Rachel was still here, she could tell me more about Bitch and Stitch. I'm going to put some lorem in there. Let's just take a bit of that. Not feeling this section. Let's bin it. Abandon that. Abandon it. we'll come back to that. We'll visit that later when we know what we're putting in there. We're just coding for the sake of coding. Not coding. We're building for the sake of building. Right, let's have a look at this event page. Looking good. Tim Falls Live. Nobody would ever view it like that. That's more like it. I think we might put a bit of padding on that section. And our image isn't loading for whatever reason. I assume that is just down to Elementor doing something funky. We need to enable that as well. Mr. Gibbons! Joseph Gibbons from the good old Atherton Collieries FC. Like watching a magician at work. Loving it. Cheers, brother. So we need to go on the custom post types UI, edit that custom post type we created before for events, and make sure that it has got an index or an archive. Where is it? Has archive true? Because now we can see an index of those events. Right, so quick update, squadron. We have just been hashing away all morning at building the Snugs website for the last couple of hours. And basically, we've got the events in there. The single listing is sorted. We need to build it so that the events index page actually looks like something. And change that navigation menu so that the link works. But currently the events index looks like this, which is not how we want it to look. And that is what we're going to go ahead and fix right away. So, back into the screen. We need to build a single event view before we crack on with this. So, if I go to templates, add new, and I believe it is loop that I want to build. And then it's, or is it a single? I think it's a single. Let's just try this. Select post types. Let's just use loop and see if we can fix it. Right, event single for loop. I may not have done this right. I always get this bit wrong. So what we want to do is we want to make how it should look for one single event, which we want it to be a layout like this, so that we can have a nice bit of padding on there, top and bottom. So my favourite padding to add, 40 pixels. And then we're going to go and grab the featured image, and then we're going to go and grab the post title. Preview settings, we'll have a look at it with an event of tinfoils, so that we can see how this looks for the events. So this is what we're trying to build out. We're going to drop in some information, being none of that business. We're going to grab a custom field, event date, job done, change the icon to a calendar. And then we're going to grab another one. We're going to grab on this one, ticket price. We don't need links behind these. Pound sign for the icon on that one. And then, what else would you need to know at this point? Date and time, price, and then we're going to go with a category, I think, if we can. Categories. There we go. That'll do us. Then in the style, we're going to leave them as a list like this for now. We're going to make them 20% apart. maybe put a divider on. Make the icons bigger. Give everything some breathing space. I think we'll make the icons red so that they stand out a little. And then we also want to grab the intro text that we created before. So intro. Wonderful. And then underneath that image there, I think we'll just drop in more information. And then we're going to link that to the post URL. Going to give the icon a bit more spacing. And we're going to use our custom CSS. Make the WordPress mentor from YouTube, no other. If you're making a loop for the post widget, you're making a loop. If you're starting the post, then it's a single. Thanks, Mick. What I'm going to do in a second is drop, I think it's this. I'm going to drop it into the Elementor single view. Basically, I'm going to build the index, and then I'm going to bring... You'll see. I'll try and show you in a second. I'm trying to build a template that I can use for the repeater. I think this is the way of doing it. I'm new to this. So it's Elementor button. And then we're going to go width of 100%. Publish that. We'll not display any conditions for it because we're going to use a custom place where we're going to display it. And as usual, I'm going to give everything a little bit more breathing space. The wider column gap. Jobs are good in. Okay, so that section currently will not display anywhere. What I need to do is build a proper loop page for just the events page. So I want to make a loop. Sorry, it's an archive page, which will then set to display on events only. So if I go publish, display conditions, and then we want to display this on only event archives, save and close, and then we're going to grab the top, make a nice little header, and then to match the events single page, we're going to just use that nice red background color that we've got, and then set the heading to white. Make the WordPress mentor. This is what I was trying to do. I may or may not have got this right. If I put archive posts here, and then I'll just pad that by 20 pixels bottom and top. A viewer on YouTube. What is this world we live in? Mick the Mentor, if you could tell me how you found it, that would help me massively. The section, we're just going to go into preview. We're going to change the preview settings to events archive so that we can see some of the things going on. Quickly drop in. See, we've got the events here. That's what we wanted. Events at the Snug. Make that a H1. We'll leave that as it is for now. I think I'm going to do something cool with this and put like maybe a wavy divider in there or something. But what I was trying to do before is sort this loop out so that it's no longer using this default template. I want to use custom, and then I should be able to... Exactly, that's what I was looking for. So I want to make that one column. That's what I was trying to get to. Make the WordPress mentor on YouTube there. Thanks for the heads up on that. But yeah, I was halfway there anyway. But thank you for saving me on a stream from the embarrassment of cocking it up. Okay, so yeah, looking good. So if we add more events, they'll all look like this. It'll have a nice little featured image and so on and so forth. I am just going to drop back into that. And make a few tweaks, because we'd had that idea of making the corners rounded on there. So if I go to event for loop, edit with Elementor. Cheers, Mick. Thanks for watching, brother. And again, I just want to grab the image on that border radius 20 pixels so that it matches everything else that we've been doing. And there we have it. We go to events now. Ah, that's what I didn't do. I need to change the menus because I have knackered my link. So I need to put Snug events in every other menu as well. Just a little bit of a tweakity poopy. Then back into visit site. So we've got now the events archive. When they add events, more of them will show there. And then that's currently all we've got done on the site. So, welcome back. So, if you've been following with us so far, we're 2 hours in. Longer than we'd expected. We'll carry on because we're almost there. We've got the events archive in there. It looks like this. We've got a single events post in there, so we can go into and look at the individual, buy tickets, loads of additional information and so on. We need to fix the ability to make this into a proper editor, so that isn't going on. But yeah, we'll get around to that. But now, the fun part, we're going to build the rest of the pages on the site. So the homepage, the food and drink, and the contact page. We should hopefully be able to get those done within the next half an hour. So thank you if you've stuck around with us for so long. It's been emotional. It's been a journey, right? So the most easy and logical place to start would be the homepage, but we're not going to do that. We're going to start with the contact page. So edit the contact page, and I think what I might do is just turn that that single post that we did for the... No, in fact, I'm not going to do that. I want them all to look different. So, how did we say the contact page was going to be? This. Okay. So, the contact page, we'll break that out into Elementor, our page editor of choice for today. And then we're going to go ahead, hide the title, because we want to put our own in there. I'm going to go in, disconnect our global for the padding, and we're going to choose one of our other brand colours. I think we'll try yellow. Might be a bit much top and bottom. Blue is unusable because we've used it already. Green might be a bit much. We'll go with red. And then the heading, we'll put in visiting, and then a break, the Snug Atherton. H1, we want to change in this top section the style of the headings. So that they are white. You could potentially do something with this, maybe wrap it in a small tag or something to make it a little bit differentiated. But that's probably for later on because we are running very thin on time today. So we want to put a section in like this. We'll pad it out as we always do for a bit of visuals. Nice bit of spacing, give it some breathing room. Visit us, the title on that section, text editor in here, and again we'll just grab this from the footer that we had in. Hey up, hey up. WordPress is not letting me copy that because I suspect it's behind something else. So we'll just nip into a new tab and grab that. I could go in and save that as a global section that I can use elsewhere if I wanted to. I want to have the ability to change this should we want to. We're going to give everything a wide column gap. Another heading here. Contact us. And what I will actually do on this at this point is nip into that footer and save the... I'm going to save the contacting section out. So that I can use it elsewhere in the site. So these two, I want to keep these, so I'm going to save those as a global. As contacts, so that now I can go back into our contact page. Whenever it loads. Lovely peaceful music as well today. Drop that in just there. And because we want to change the colours, we're going to unlink it from the global widget. And we're going to go on Style, Icon, choose our blue, Text, choose a nice subtle grey. And that's the one that's used elsewhere. Great stuff. And then I'm going to drop a map in on this section here. If I can find it. Can't see it because I'm blind. Map. And then I'm going to go the Snug, Atherton. Hopefully they've got the places listing. Wonderful. We're going to zoom right in down there. Great stuff. And then we wanted a nice image on this section, so let's drop in full width section, not unlike we didn't do for the bands page. We're going to stretch that to a full width. We're going to set the background to be an image. And I think at this point I'll drag in all of the pictures that I edited yesterday, ready for us to use on site. And for good SEO practice, we should go through and name all of these pictures and give them all alt tags and various things like that, if we haven't just broke WordPress by doing this. So we can see I did edit each picture in a tall, a square, and a wide format, so that we've got lots to play with today. So I think we'll use this cup, because I really like that cup. And then we're going to go with, we're going to pad this section out. Give it a nice 200 pixels top and bottom. And then we're going to center that image. And then no repeats on there, please. And then we're going to cover. Then we're going to add that nice scrolling effect that we had on there. Set it to the same-ish settings that we had. So that just gives us a bit of visual interest. Lovely. Looking good. Let's just check out this on mobile and tablet to make sure it still looks as tasty as it does. I suspect mobile it will not. It'll be huge. I don't know, actually. It looks alright. It looks quite tasty. And then let's get the rest of this design in. So we want to get in there bookings and parties, information that I do not believe I have. Let's check out our content document that we had from Rachel. So here is the content from Rach. I know that they do take bookings for events. There's an awful lot of information to be adding here somewhere. There's the stitch and bitch classes that we need. Sewing and crochet every Wednesday from 7 till 9 PM. I'm going to put some Ipsum in, I believe, because I can't find anything at this point about booking events. Okay, so back to Elementor. Let's make a split section. And then we're not going to pad this internally, we're going to pad this on the outside because I'm going to do a split column section here. So full width section, and we're going to pad the columns, not the actual section. So the background on this one, we're just going to grab a light pink that we had before, almost so subtle you can't tell. And then drop a heading in. What was that one? That was about parties. And then style. I'm going to go ahead and get our nice little pink that we had before. And then on this section, bookings. Again, Rachel, I'm going to need some content from you for these two sections. And what I'm going to do on these is just put in a little button with a tel link to your main, the phone number. With a picture of a phone and a bit of spacing, and then we're going to duplicate that for the other section. And we're going to change the colour of that as we did before, and then the hover. Excellent. Looking good. What else have we got? We have the social media links and then your Instagram feed. So, social links, we'll put in a nice brightly coloured section. I'm going to grab your blue, but then slightly darken it so that when it gets near the header, it doesn't look odd. We'll just add some padding to the top and bottom of this. We don't want it to be too much padding. And then we want to change the typography on this section, because we want the heading to be white, the text to be white, and the links to be very light yellow, we'll try, and the hover colour. The Snug on social. And we're going to utilise our friend. You can use Elementor's action links on the contact details to make them clickable. I've already built those there, Mick, but I've used the content of these here. Mail to. I've done that one wrong. But yeah, I've used actual just HTML tags to do that. Perhaps I'm doing it wrong, who knows. I'll need to update that mail to in the footer as well. So let's get back to the old icon list for social. So I've got the Snug on Facebook, which has been linked here. I'll take away that UTM track so it doesn't throw off your data. And then we'll grab Facebook's logo from the handy icon set that comes with Elementor. We shall make the icon huge in this case, because we want to make a bit of a feature of this. We'll make the text white too. Then we'll grab it for Instagram. Still the same link. So, Instagram. We're just going to nip onto Instagram and try and find the Snug. This is my Instagram, by the way. Snug on Instagram. Paste that in. And then we're going to go Insta. We're going to display these in line. Give them a lot more spacing. You can do it either way. There's more options for some settings in the action link setting. Thanks, Mick. Top tips today from you, dude. Nice one. Subscribe, by the way. You could do with you one every week. I'm new, like I say. I am new to Elementor. I'm picking my way through it. There's probably better ways of doing some things. I am learning, but we're getting there. We're getting stuff done. But yeah, nice one. Thanks for that. Thanks for your help. Snug on Instagram. What else have we got? Last link. LinkedIn is Rachel's personal one. What's the YouTube channel? So they do have a channel with their old logo. Wonderful. Okay, so we'll just we'll duplicate that one, and then we'll go on YouTube. Paste that link in, and then choose YouTube. Right, so let's check this out on tablet. Starting to fall apart slightly. I think we'll shrink the icon size on tablet a little bit. And then on mobile, that looks fine. Cool. So everything's linked up there, social media wise. People can find you. Looking good. What else have we got? Instagram feed and then an events call to action. So the events call to action we need to work on because we've not used that anywhere else. So let's just build one. I like that red that we've used. It may look quite... it does look a bit intense next to the yellow. But let's have a look. Nice and colourful, mind, but that may be a bit too much. We'll see. We can change it later. Nothing's set in stone here. It's very much a version 1 that Rachel's going to go and snag afterwards. Events at the Snug. And then we'll put a bit of text in here that we can update later. And we'll duplicate this column so that we've got 2 columns to play with. And then what we're going to do in this right hand side is actually put a upcoming events little widget in there at another time, so that we can have like a list of things coming on, going on and coming soon. But I need to build that a little bit in code. We'll drop a button in, linking to the events index. Can we do that? Link options, dynamic tags. I think we have to do this manually. Then we'll put our little calendar icon in there that we've been using globally for the events, and then give it that nice 12 bits of spacing. Yeah, so like I say, what I'm going to do later on is build a little feed that comes here and here that shows us the up and coming events, and then that'll give everyone a nice call to action back to the events page. So that contact page is looking quite complete. And then what else have we got? Let's get on the food and drink. I think we might just increase the padding on this section because it's looking a little snug. No, we're in the snug. Cool, right, so that's that. Let's get down to business. So we've got the contact page done. We've got the events page done. With one sample event in. The home and food and drinks page are next. Hopefully, we'll get these done in the next couple of minutes. So we'll start with the food and drink page because I am well into food. Everybody likes food, very visual. So, the food and drinks page, I believe, is this one. Yes. So, we do have some lovely pictures of the food and drink, actually, which we may use as the header image. We want to hide the main menu. Use our own. Use our usual padding. An image background on this, I think we'll go for, and the food pictures are not in this upload yet. Let's grab one that we can use with text over the top of it. That's quite a nice picture. I think we may take this into Photoshop and just tweak it slightly so we can get more of this side of it. Which wouldn't be a bad shout. So let's go in. We'll do 1800 pixels wide by 400 tall. It might be too much. And what I might do is just drag it over to one side there. And then over the top, place a gradient. It's dead straightforward, just a nice something like this. Let's see how that looks. Might be a bit wide. Let's just grab anything above 1500 pixels should do us. Okay, save this out. Again, later on we'll go back through and put all the SEO titles and stuff in. Whoopsie doodle, we've attached that to the wrong place. We want to attach this on the full column so that it's a full width header. And then we're going to attach it to the, we'll try center. We want it to scroll, we want it to not repeat, and we want it to cover that section. What we'll do, we'll break this into two columns so that we're always going to make sure we don't overlay our header onto that picture. And so we can see it a little bit more, we're just going to drop in probably 80 pixels of padding. And we'll leave the left and right at 0. Maybe 100 even. We'll check this out at different breakpoints shortly. Food and drink. At the Snug. Great stuff. And we want to make sure that's a H1 title because it's the first one on the page. We'll do something globally with this, these small tags to make them a little bit more different from the main. And then we'll give it a little blurb. So like I say, we need to edit this column width as well to make sure that it is always going to be probably 40 pixels wide. 40% wide, sorry. But to do that, I believe I'm going to have to create another column to the right of it and get rid of the content. This is the only thing with using a page builder. You sometimes have to put things in there that aren't needed just to get the job done. And I think we might attach that slightly differently in a second. So, what we're saying about food, Rachel. So there's a nice little passage there in the content about the food. We'll drop in more link. Which will then use the anchor tag, which just drags people down lower into the page. So when you tap this, it'll scroll you down to this section. So this will not be displayed. It's just literally a placeholder. So that's looking good. There's a nice little header. And then I think what we'll do is put in a section for people to, with a little bit of padding, with a red background, white text. Download our menu. And I need to make the 2 columns, and I didn't. So a button there to just grab the PDF of the menu. We don't have that yet, but we will have it one day. Background color of that button, I'm just going to make it sit with that section instead of being a bit too brash with that green. And then we're going to align that to the right. And we'll get rid of any margins that are on that particular instance of the H2 and any padding. Just to make sure it doesn't push anything around, and we'll vertically align these sections to be middle. Lovely. So let's check that out on my tablet. Everything's looking right. This header definitely needs aligning slightly differently. So if I just pop in here under style, where we've got the background picture attached, he says get back onto desktop mode, and I think we're going to go with left center. Does push it slightly out, which isn't good. It's way too much. We'll have to play with that later on to try and make it sure we can see this text. This needs padding because it's way too close. Looks good. And then mobile. We're going to have to change things up completely on mobile because, as we assumed, this image will completely overlay. So we may even lose the background image on mobile. And work something out for that special afterwards. But that is for off stream. So the menu's there. What else are we saying? Hey Rach, welcome back. We've been busy. So, what else is happening? We've got a little blurb about the food and then a section about takeaway. So, let's just do this. Again, we'll pad this section out. And then We'll drop in a section here about takeaway. Which I think we'll use a little bit of interest that we did on the old music page. And just use that extremely light pink to create a bit of visual difference. Our border radius that we had everywhere. And then also on the header, let's just grab that. Next up, some content about takeaway, some content about food, and then layout wise, let's give everything a wide column gap. And there's nothing better than pictures of food, and there is a magnificent looking picture of a breakfast that I've seen floating around that we don't have edited. So if you just take a leaf out of that book and grab that picture of that tasty veggie breakfast. That's a veggie breakfast, Rach. It's crazy. Oh, there's an egg on that one. Is that a veggie? I don't know. I'm not a veggie. It's a little close up. Right, tell you what, we won't do that. What we'll do, how can we get this? We'll move the takeaway section underneath here. We'll put that in an inner section so that we can put our nice there wasn't an egg, it would be vegan. That shows you the the limits of my knowledge of veganism and so on. Okay, so we want a single column inner section. Our friend over on YouTube probably knows a better way of doing this if he's still with us. So just going to grab a background colour again, use that nice pink. I should probably save that into our gallery because we've used it quite a few times. We'll drop this takeaway section into here. Oopsie doodle. Grab that column. 30 pixels padding on the column. Back into style. Borders. 20 pixels of border radius. Just creates a bit of a difference between those two. And I think what we'll do here, we'll lose the background on that. If the web browser plays nice. Come on, there we go. And then we'll use a front end image. Instead of using it as a background, we'll drop this image in. And we've got to use that brekkie. It's quite large though for web, so let's shrink that down to probably that sort of size. Lovely picture that. Liking it. Like it a lot. Okay, saving that out. Let's grab that picture. Snug veggie breakfast, we'll call it. And then we'll drop that into our website images. Again, we should be filling these out. We'll go through and do that later on because it's quite boring to watch. We'll make it full size. We'll lose the padding on this column. I like that. So let's just check that out on tablet. Looking good. We want to get that away from that right hand side though. And is there a way of changing the display image in such a sense that would make it 100% of the height. I know how to do it in code. I do not know how to do it in Elementor without making it a background image. It's alright, Mick, don't worry. Thanks for sticking around, by the way. This is So what I'd like to do is make that a full height image, but I think what we might just do on this occasion is break that these columns on tablet to be 100% width. And then we want to get that image to cover the box. Like so. It's quite a big image to be doing that with though. But we don't want to be doing that. Might look good on mobile, but maybe not on desktop. Okay, we need to play with this section later. That doesn't actually look too bad. And then mobile. Looking good. You took that picture, did you, Rach? It's very nice. Nice brekkie, that. Good looking brekkie. Okay, what else have we got? Drink, the most important meal of the day. Now, do we have a nice picture of a drink? We do, don't we? Do you have a picture of the pumps? Oh. Okay, I'm using that somewhere. That's a nice picture. This is a nice picture. So let's make it web friendly. Oops. Drop that in. I think we'll just make that a little bit higher. We're going to use this one as a background image. We can put a bit of floaty on there. So a little technique we've been using, Rich, is to do a background image on a section like this. Bear with me. Drop that in there. So we've been using a background image like that, and then we've been making it do a fancy thing. If you see, you ready? Hang on. Center it, attach it, don't repeat it, cover. And then we've been going on scroll effects, vertical scroll of, I think it was 5. And then can you see how it does this little, ooh. Now I put a heading in about drinks. This section is way too big for that heading. So let's just fix that. Perhaps we'll go 150. 100. 100. We want the heading to be white. Loving a good scroll effect there, H. Okay. So, our drinks. Now, the very interesting part of the drinks at the Snug are there's lots of teas and coffees and so on. And then there are cocktails. And then there is beer, which is my particular interest. So what I'm going to do is actually do a little icon for each of the beers. So if we do 500 pixels, and we're going to use artboards on this one, the thing that broke last week, which is playing nice this week. thankfully. And then we're going to grab the old Snug logo, because the beer that you've got on for the Snug is, of course, very similar. And then we have permission to use this image. The next few we may need to source. However, I don't think, considering that we're selling their beer, they'll bother with us advertising the fact. The other beer that you use is Dortmunder Union, which is a nice German beer. Southwest Cider and Grand Central IPA. So we'll grab Dortmunder Union's logo, which is this, I believe. We need to source permission to use this, Rachel, later, before we go live. And we'll try and keep them all the same size. And then we want to grab, what else have we got? Southwest Cider. Not quite as easy on that one. And then we'll probably pause that for now, and then we'll get Grand Central IPA. Mr. David Burgess is following us on YouTube also. Welcome, sir. If any of you need a magician. David's your man. I'm just trying to make sure that's around about the same size. I should have used guides, but you know. Rachel, third time I'm warning you. We need to get permission to use that's yours, that doesn't matter. These two, we need to get permission. And we need to find Southwest Cider's thing, so I'm just going to use the Snug again for now, because we don't have time. So artboard 1 is called Snug Lager. Then it's Dortmunder. Then it's Grand Central. Spelt wrong. And then finally, it's the Southwest, which we don't have. And then what I'm going to do, file, export artboards to file. Cheers, Rach, for finding that logo. We can add it later. Snug, beers, and then underscore all artboards. Yeah, just a shout to David Burgess, by the way. If any of you are interested in ye old magicians and want to learn how to do magic yourself, he's just launched, in true diversification style for the old lockdown, a magic school online, so make sure you check it out. Search David Burgess Magician on YouTube or on Google, and he'll show up. Anyway, back to the project. Shout out done. Welcome, David. Thanks for watching. Okay, so we're going to put 4 columns in, preceded by a single column, and we're going to put in beers and ciders. Beer and cider, I think I'll just call it. And because it's adult, we're just going to use a nice grey for that. We're going to pad that ever so slightly. 20 pixels top and bottom. Drop that above there. And then this whole section's going to get the same 20 pixels at the top. In fact, whoops. We're going to go 40 pixels at the top. If we can find where we attach that padding just then. We're going to go 40 top, 20 bottom. And this is going to get 20 top. And then 40 bottom. So that it creates a nice division. Put some lorem in there that we can replace later. And then we're going to go ahead and drop in our 4 images of the beers that we've just created. We'll, again, should be alt tagging these. we'll go back and do this later. And then level 3 heading for this because it's underneath the beers. We want a central the style on each of these. So what is that, Rach? It's the Snug export. We'll break that. Onto the second line. There we go. Looks good. And then we'll duplicate that. Bring him across. Nice set of images there. Grab each one. Dortmunder Pills. Grand Central IPA. And then we'll leave that as the Snug because we don't have that one yet. So it's the Snug export. Then we've got Dortmunder Union. Then we've got Grand Central IPA. And then finally Southwest cider. Looking good. And we do have a little bit of a blurb about each one. Strong German beer, refreshing cider, we'll say about the other one. What's this one? What is the Snug IPA? It is session beer. Strong German. Could murder a pint of strong German lager right about now. So then what have we got? So, oh, it's a strong German beer. Apologies. I believe it is a lager. I don't know that much about beer as to know what pills means, but Grand Central IPA, vegan IPA. Lovely. And then finally, refreshing. That'll do us. And then, what next? Afternoon tea, cocktails and afternoon tea. Let's do a nice section on these two. So I think for cocktails, for this right hand side, let's just do that nice big padded box that we had before on the other page. And then we're going to go ahead. In fact, I've changed my mind already. I'm going to do these as two separate bars because we've got some lovely pictures that didn't exist before the before I designed the wireframes. So I'm going to make this a full width section. I'm going to pad the left hand column by 40 pixels, and we're going to go drop in a heading of afternoon tea, and then we'll put some text about the afternoon tea and a call to action, which will take us to the contact page. You can't book online, but you can inquire online, so I'll say that. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to grab a nice large picture of our afternoon tea setup that we had. I'll go 1024 wide square. And these extra pictures that we've got. That is a lovely picture. Which one is it? To Whitst as the afternoon tea. There we go. Afternoon tea. We've got a picture of that. Job's a good one. Looking tasty. Colour mode's a little bit different than what we've been using. But never mind. So I'll make that into an artboard. And then we're going to swap the other one out for cocktails, which I think there's an espresso martini that I saw. Lovely. Which doesn't quite look straight. We can fix that. Mm-hmm. Oops. Uh-oh. It's all happening. Afternoon tea, just naming these layers. And then when we export them. 2 hours and 50 in, guys. Whoa. This one's ran on longer than we expected. Okay. Destination, desktop. We're going to go Snug. Export those 2 files. We're going to grab this image here. Upload those 2. Oops, I only export 1. Do that all the time. Anybody else do that? Whack them on the desktop. Drop those into the site. And then what we want to do, display the full image. Get rid of any padding on that box. So I'm just making sure the widget spacing is set to 0, padding's on 0. So that it's full width. We're going to just tweak the layout on this so the vertical line's centered, and we'll get some content from Rachel for the rest. And we'll probably go with a 40% width. I'm going to type that because that's going to bug me. And then, in fact, I'm going to align that to the top because it's going to look a little odd. Then what I'm going to do, duplicate this entire section, but we are going to reverse it on tablet and desktop. Oh, sorry, that was hiding it. We want to reverse it on tablet and on desktop. So what we need to do is check mobile and then swap them around, I think. So if we update this, because we want that to be first, and then on mobile we want it to go text picture, text picture. So if we go text picture and then reverse columns on mobile only. So when we view that on tablet, it should stay the same, and then on mobile, text picture, text picture. Job's a good one. Okay, guys, this is looking good. Right, these colours are a little bit too much, so let's go in globally, I think, maybe, and change the H2s to be grey. Because whilst we do want it to be fresh, we want it to be profesh. You like that? Fresh and profesh. We don't want it to look too sort of colourful in certain sections. So if we set the green's a little bit too brash for me on this. The red's a little bit more classy. So I'm going to go the same with this one. Cheers, Mr. Burgess. Anybody that's watching with him, thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the site. Okay, looking good. This food and drink page is coming together. It looks a little odd because of all the Elementor things that are going on. Okay, so what else do we need in there? Events and a visit. So I think we'll leave events off this one. Perhaps we'll change it later on, and then we'll go on and make a visiting us section. Thanks, Photoshop, for the heads up. So, we don't want it to be too big. Top and bottom padding. That nice red that we've been using around. Grab the heading. Visit us. Make it white. We're going to be adding more text to this section, so let's we'll change the text color on the column, not on just in the middle of nowhere. So the heading color, we're going to make it white. Text color, white. Little visit us blurb. So we are tucked away down the cobbles, under the arch, on Market Street, Atherton. And then what we'll do, we'll put a call to action on the other side to match the menu download. We'll just drop that in a little bit lower down. Come on. There we go. And we'll call it contact. And then visit us. I'll put visit the Snug, make it a bit more. Pixels and then 70, and then we want to align that on mobile to the left. Again, we do need to fix this header. We've not forgotten from the beginning of the stream. And also I've just remembered that we didn't do the same to this menu, so check that download menu out on mobile. Need to align that to the left. Looking good. Now, what do you reckon, guys? Do we put the ales and stuff at 50% on mobile? I think so, because that's a lot of content to be scrolling through. It's better. Check them out on tablet. It should be in a 4-row on tablet, which they are. Afternoon tea. Then visiting us. Great stuff. I may just tweak that to 70 and 30 on tablet. However, it is ruining our image. I should probably make those into background images so that they are so that they display full height no matter what happens. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that actually. So if we go to style, so basically what's happening is when we get to a certain viewport, you can see that little bit of white that's appearing below the image. You don't want that to happen, so to get rid of that, we can make it the background image instead of the foreground image. And it is actually the wrong picture, we want this one. And then we can set it to we need to set the blend mode, not the blend mode, the attachment of that background image. Wherever it may have gone. Oh, hang on, I need to go on desktop. yeah, so we want the background image to be this, and then we want it to be centered, and we want it to be covered, so that it's always showing the full image, and it's always right up to the edge of the viewport, instead of it having loads of space and whatnot. It does mean we've got to be a bit more sensitive when we're art directing our images in future, but that's not a bad thing. Mick the WP Mentor, thanks for sticking around for so long, man. Reach out on Facebook, brother. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your help. You've been ace. So yeah, let's just hit up this background image on this side. And again, we want it to cover center. I think this one will attach bottom right, because most of the interest is in these sandwiches. So when we're art directing the images, we can choose which part of the image we want to see most. And I think we could probably bring this back to our 50-50 column layout, which is what we actually intended. And then let's just check that out on tablet. Now, of course, because these images don't actually have any height information on mobile, they are going to completely disappear, which is not good. So we can sort of work our way around that by putting padding on the box that contains them. But because of the way that WordPress and Elementor works and whatnot, we need to add at least a blank bit of content in there, even if it doesn't have anything in. Because if there's nothing there, it just simply doesn't render the section, which isn't a bad thing, but we do need to sew our way around it. So, as we can see, we've got a nice full height image there. We need to change this one to cocktails. And then I think we could do with adding, getting the layout on this, making the columns gap wider, so we're not hugging the edges of the browser as much. And the same on the beer and cider. Wide might do us actually, wider might be too much. And then again, I like to give everything it's a lot of breathing space. And then this as well is far too close to the edge. So let's just give us a little bit of breathing space on there by padding that out. And I in fact think that should be a level 3 heading, and these should be level 4. So level heading levels have nothing to do with the size of they do change the size obviously, but this is like level 2, we're talking about drinks, and then anything below here is about drinks. So then we've got beer and cider, which is about, it's underneath beer and drinks. It's about drinks, sorry. So beer and cider is like a level 3, and then underneath beer and cider we've got level 4s talking about each beer. And then we're going to go back up to a level 3 because afternoon tea is a different thing in the at level 2, sorry, because it's a completely new section. Cocktails, again, is its own section. So, we'll grab some content off Rachel. We'll see if we can bring something out. If Google Docs would play with us nicely, which it is not doing. Cheers, Googs. Let's lose some tabs. We've got the dancing disc of destiny. So guys, we are 3 years into the stream, 3 hours into the stream. We started out with a completely blank slate today for the Snug in Atherton, who won the competition this week for the old AMMF Inbox Dan Websites for Charity drive that we've been doing. Rachel, the legend who has been making scrubs all week actually for the NHS using her sewing shop, has won the competition this week very deservedly for what she's been doing. And yeah, we are pretty much at the end of the build. We've got one more page to do, which is arguably the most important page, the home page, which will lead everybody else into the pages that we've built already. So it's all about getting to a V1. We will be working with Rachel after this to make sure the site is perfect at every viewport, all the SEO is taken care of, and so on. But without further ado, let's get these last few pages finished up. Alexa piped up there if you if you're still with us. Okay, so food and drink page looking good. Let's just check our sketch to see if it matches. We've got a visit CTA, we've got everything on there, looking good. Page 1 of our sketch then. We were trying to get some content off this Google Doc, but it isn't playing nicely with us, so we'll add this later. Let's go to the main site and have a look around. So, this is the... Right, we need to get rid of that gap. That's going to bug the living daylights out of me. So, it's down to the... We've got a more anchor, which is basically when we click that CTA in the top, which was recommended, obviously, earlier on at the beginning of the stream by Nicola Howard from Launch Events, that we have a CTA at the top. We would always put a CTA in the top anyway, because, obviously, if you're on mobile, you may not realise that there is a scroll. However, good shout, good tip. So we've done that. So you can see now that little gap's gone. We've got a bit about the food, bit about takeaway. Not too sure about how this steps in. We might get rid of that pink background. Talking about the drinks, we've got some beer in. We've got afternoon tea and cocktails. Visit takes us to the visit page, which we built earlier. So we've got all of this intel on here. Parties and bookings welcome. Nice and colourful to match the branding. Maybe a little too colourful, but we can fix that. Now the homepage looks like this. So let's dive straight in and get that fixed. Sip of water for me though. It's been a long day, guys. It's been 3 hours. We aimed for 2. We've gone for 3 this time. It was a little complex build because we had to sort out that events custom post type. So thanks if you're still with us. Back to the screen cap. Let's edit this page. We need to first get WordPress to display our homepage as the homepage, because it's currently trying to display an archive of nothing, which is not good. So if we go to the WordPress reading tab, we can choose a static page of home, and then when we go to the home page, we'll get this, which is currently just the default stuff that comes through with WordPress. So we're going to edit this page. We're going to get rid of everything from the normal WordPress editor, update that, and then get over to Elementor to build the main La pièce à résistance, the home page. So this page, as on any website, should welcome people and take us to other parts of the website. So we've got a lovely video actually made by the legendary Peter Hall, which I'm hoping is on the YouTube channel. Is it this? It's nice. It's a nice grainy video, that. I'm going to use that one. So we can change the video out later on if it's not right, guys, so don't panic. I'm going to give us a 2-column layout on this. Nice bit of padding as we've been using, site-wide, 60 and 40. We'll drop in the video here, link to this. We'll start where it starts. We'll autoplay, even though it may be annoying, and on mobile. We'll turn off the controls. Just going to switch off autoplay once we're editing. We'll turn on loop. It would be useful if we could get rid of all this other stuff, because we are showing a lot of edit controls there. Okay, so that's the video done. We might even nip into After Effects later on and put a full video background here, which would look really nice. Nice heading in this section. I think we're going to just go and edit this section now and switch up the typography settings so that we have heading colour of white, text colour of white, a link colour, which we won't be putting any links in this top bit. Rach. Yep. It's a good job we've got plenty of time. There's plenty to snag on this as well, so don't worry. It's not going to be... I'm not going to just close the video off and say, right, that's it, job done. We've got all week. Well, ish. We've got time. So, welcome to... I'm going to do that small. I'm going to put a break. The Snug, Atherton. I'm going to put actually the Snug coffee shop. Is it what, Rich? What are you calling this? The Snug coffee shop, coffee bar, coffee what? And what we're going to do, once we've done this, I want that, the small sections to look a little different. So I'm going to go into theme style. Do some custom CSS. I'm going to go H2, small. I'm going to go font size, 0.7M. See if that does anything. Oh, it's a H1, sorry. There we go. Then we're going to go line height, 1M, 1.4. Is that affecting anything? Maybe not. Can we put line height on select it like that? I don't think we can. So let's go font H1, line height 2M. Definitely not overriding that for some reason. We'll not force it. We'll leave it as is for the time being. But I think site-wide we could do with making the headers a little bit bigger. So let's go in and do them 50 pixels. And then level 2 headings could probably stay where they are, but we'll go 30. Cool. So then let's have a look at a bit of content. There is something for everyone at the Snug Coffee House. We helped. We're a social hub. And this is none of this is by any means stretched out. It is an absolutely fantastic venue. There's some great content here. I'm just trying to find something. Let's have a look. Welcome to Snug Coffee House. We shout. We're social. In fact, I'm going to whack all that in. It's a great little passage, that. Content. It's a lot of content for that section, really. We could probably... Coffee house, thanks, Rach. There we go. That's much better. Snug life. Exactly. Right, edit that section. Let's just make sure the vertical alignment is centered so that the video sticks with us when we add this button in. Visit the Snug. What do we want to say? We want to go more. Rachel, come up with something snappy that we can put in this welcome button right at the top of the site. Get more info, learn more, whatever. I'm going to put hashtag SnugLife for now. With a Y. Yeah, we need a proper vibe from you. And what I'm going to do here, because I fell in love with that picture before of the coffee where someone had done the logo with the finger in grounds. Let's use that just slightly underneath the header. So, thankfully Photoshop recovered that file that we lost. That must be what had crashed before. Extras, where's that picture? So many great pictures that we need to get in this site. Obviously, we're running out of time on the stream to do all this today, but... Booming. Look at that. I love that. Save that out. Bear with me, guys. Delivery. 1 minute. Good old Amazon, keeping the world turning. Sorry about that. Right, yeah, so what we're doing. Okay, the picture. The Snug in coffee. Right, so this section, new blank section. We're going to do our fancy thing that we've been doing elsewhere. We're going to go style, background type, image. We're going to upload the Snug in coffee. Love that. Nice. Padding top and bottom of 100 pixels. Maybe 150, so we can make sure we definitely see it. And then we want to go on under style. Position, centered, attachment, no repeat, cover. And we're going to put some scroll effects on there. Vertical scroll. 5. Lovely. Look at that. Tasty pick there, H. Visiting us, and a nice big call to action, which we could grab off the other page, so we won't need to rebuild that section. Let's head over to the other page that we built that on, which was the food and drink. And then we're going to head to the bottom and save this section as a template, and we're going to call it Visit Us. And that's it. So then we can go back to the home page. And then bring in our template that we just made. But we're going to override it. And we're going to use our yellow. We're going to use that little passage that Rachel's just forwarded me on the chat there. We'll probably go green on that. Make the Snug part of your life. Snug life. Vibes. Looks good. Let's just go on vertical line to middle. And then what we want to do is this more button that we put in, we need to get an anchor for more, which will take us to here. Oops, that's not what we wanted. Update that. So when we click this, it takes us here. Good stuff. Okay, what next? So, food and drink, upcoming events. So again, food and drink section. We're going to use this 50-50 split situation. And we're going to go... going to make it full width. Left hand side. We're going to pad that by 50 pixels. The right hand side. We're going to pad that by 100 pixels so that on mobile it looks cool. And then background, we're going to grab some food imagery. Did we use a breakfast somewhere? we did. I want to use something that I've not used yet. I'll use that. I like it. And then we're going to go in here and we're going to go food and drink. At the Snug. And just because we said we were going to do this before and we never got around to it, we're going to go onto the default styles because those header ones are a little bit too much in blue. So typography. Make sure the text is right for that, and then we're going to grab that level 1 header and level 2 header, make them grey. Which you'd think if we reset this page, we should get that through. We'll just force that manually on this particular instance. So the Snug, we have got a bit of a passage about the food. I'll remove a slight little bit of this because it's as if Rachel's talking to me, which she is. So we serve light meals and snacks. We specialise in homemade cakes, chunky toast and tea cakes. We offer afternoon tea and with endless tea and coffee and gin cups. Yes. And then call to action to go to the food page. And then we want to just fix this background image here. So that it's covered, centered. Right, so we're going to go top center. Lovely. Just have a little preview on mobile and desktop, on tablet and mobile, sorry. Looking good. I'm going to align that to the top, actually it looks a little strange. Photoshop told me it crashed before. And then mobile. There we go. Looking good. Right, okay guys, last little bit and then we'll take the rest offline. So upcoming events we need to build, so we're going to leave that out. Atmosphere, baristas and the courtyard. Again, we could probably duplicate this section. Swap over those columns. Rich has provided me with a nice little passage about atmosphere. So we're just going to drop that in. Got a great courtyard for warm sunny days. Inside we have a counter / bar pack with choices of beverages. In the main eating area we have church view seats. Great selection of artwork and photos from the past events at the Snug. It's a social atmosphere and we encourage conversations between customers. And we've always got a cool playlist on the stereo. Not wrong at all. So then we're going to go contact. And then we're going to go visit us. And then we'll change this image to match the interior. So one of those images that we grabbed. In fact, we've already got that uploaded. So if I nip into style. This is an event, but it still looks great. And then we want to switch that round again, don't we, on mobile. under advanced, responsive, reverse columns on mobile. And then we're going to duplicate that one more time for that other section that we had about the baristas. Then we've got a nice little passage about that. Just paste in that without the formatting. All of our team are qualified baristas. We've all attended various courses and coffee conventions in Manchester and London. My staff love their coffee and take great pride in making the perfect cup. More about our coffee. Great stuff. And then we've got a nice picture for the background on that little last section there. Which, that barista looking thing, we've used that elsewhere though. Let's go with this one. Looking suave. What's missing? The courtyard. I love the courtyard at the Snug. Let's just duplicate this and we'll use that picture that was passed here. I like that picture. I'm going to go ahead and grab one with the T's though. And did we have... We did. We're just going to go ahead and grab this artboard, duplicate that. We're going to swap those over and reverse it on mobile. Save those out again. And then finally, let's get that last image up there. We want that to be centered. Somewhere we've mentioned the courtyard. So I'm going to put join us in our new and improved courtyard. With comfortable seating, shelter, ambient lights, which provides great space for the Snug live events. belting. And then we'll link that to the events page, I think, because we've mentioned events in the paragraph. Mr. Dickinson is with us. Thank you for joining us, sir, and for your kind words. So, okay. This is looking like a website. Very colourful, mind. We may tone that down in future situations, and we need to get a bit more information about Stitch and Bitch so we can advertise that a bit more. Perhaps make its own page. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute mission. We have been here for 3.5 hours, streaming live, and oh, I'm losing my voice. Anyway, so let's just have a quick run through what we've done today and where we're up to, and next steps, and so on for the squad at Snug. I'm gonna get rid of some space on my screen so I can show you through what we've been doing, and hopefully get this website live for you all to peruse. Okay. Let's have a look. So today, we started out with nothing, and we have arrived at this realization of the Snugs website. So, welcome, a nice video that will autoplay. Image there. And then bit of a call to action to visit about the food and drink, the atmosphere, the baristas and the coffee, and the wonderful courtyard. Then we will have a widget down here for events, the food and drink. One of the pages here. So here we're talking about the food and drink. Grab the menu as a PDF. Rachel, you need to send me that, thank you. Nice picture of the breakfast there, about takeaways, about the food and the drinks. Here's the beer insider that they've got on. Here's a bit of afternoon tea intel and about cocktails. Again, link to visit, always call to action, always asking people to do things. The events page, where Rachel will be able to just drop in any new gigs that are coming up in a nice, easy way to use the website. Put in the price and the ticket information, bit of a blurb about the thing, and then on the individual event, we've got a nice full page about it. Clear information there, link there to get the ticket from Eventbrite or Dice. Full blurb, nice big picture of what's going on, bit more information, navigation between the events and so on. And then finally, the contact page. We have visiting the Snug in Atherton, a little map here, the address, where they are, contact information, picture of one of their lovely coffee cups that take away there, booking information, party information, links to social media, again, links back to events, not leaving any dead ends anywhere on site. Keeping the information flowing. And ladies and gents, that's where we're up to so far. So good. It's been 3.5 hours. We do welcome critique on all these projects, so please, if you've been following along, if you've got suggestions, it's a very brightly coloured website. Yes, we may tone that down. There is still content to fill out. Rachel's going to provide me with that. Hopefully, Rach, if you're still with us, you and the squad can get this, now you've seen it and now you know where things are going. Let me know what's going on. There's some tidying up to do, there's some bits to add, but all in all, it's been a blast. It's been 3.5 hours. Thanks for watching. The next week's stream, a smaller site than this, is for Brett of Renovate. He does kitchen and bathroom fit outs. So got his content, got everything ready to go. So rock and roll. Thank you to everybody for sharing and liking and getting involved. Thanks again to Rachel for letting us do this project for her, for donating to AMMF, and for getting